Winner, five-time All-Star, and strikeout pitcher extraordinaire. He'll take the mound tonight against the Orioles' Kevin Gausman. First-round draft pick, flamethrower, and, oh yes, donut-eating champion of the MLB. Now, Gausman might not have his donuts with him here at Safeco Field, but if he puts them up on the scoreboard, he can dethrone the king tonight in Seattle. It's the O's and Mariners up next on MASN. It's the Orioles on MASN on an absolutely gorgeous night in downtown Seattle. It's the Orioles and the Mariners tonight. It's Game 2 in this four-game series. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hunter. Jim Palmer in a moment. The Orioles got the win in the opener last night, and they have turned things around on this road trip. It began losing 2 of 3 in Oakland, but over the last 4 games, the Orioles have gone 3-1. They have a winning record on the trip with 3 games to go. And unlike how they had won games earlier in the year, they have turned the tables. They are now winning games with pitching, and they are winning heavily with the pitching that they're getting. Over the last 4 games, the numbers back it up as the Orioles pitchers have really come on. Look at the team ERA combined, 1.54. You're going to win a lot of games when you pitch that effectively. The starters even better at 1.27. They've done that despite the fact the team has batted collectively 201, scoring only 14 runs and striking out 41 times. That 201 batting average, the lowest in the American League over the last 4 days. And Jim, this is actually encouraging. If you think about it, you're going to win more games with pitching, and the Orioles pitchers are starting to really pick it up.
Well, I mean, that's what they wanted to have to be the mantra all the way from opening day. But, you know, you had Jimenez, who really missed spring training. As far as signing late, you had a lot of guys that are much better pitchers now. You have 2 new pitching coaches, Dave Wallace and Tom Cheedy. So ideally, I mean, you had a 4-game losing streak back in April, 2 in May. But lately, and it's not only are they winning and there's a starting pitching doing well, it's who they're doing it against. They're in the midst of a 29-game streak of teams that are either 500 or better. They did it, in Oakland. They actually should have won 2 out of 3, but only won 1. The Angels were leading the league, just coming off a 5-game winning streak, Jim, where they had averaged 8 runs a game. They gave up 2, 2, and 3. The Mariners they don't score a lot of runs, but they beat them at their own game when Chen won his 11th game. So all of a sudden, if you're a regular player, you're going out there saying, hey, we're going to get a good start tonight.
Well, the other thing the Orioles are doing is they are bouncing back when they need to. On this trip, they had that tough loss Friday night in Oakland, won the next day. They lost in Anaheim. The finale came here, won last night. In fact, since June the 1st, they've lost back-to-back games only 3 times. That's how you get into the postseason.
Yeah, well, I talked to, in April, the 4-game, May, a couple of 4-game series. So all of a sudden, when you pitch better, the way I look at this, in our post-game interview, we were talking to Nick Markakis, drove in a run last night, and he said, well, it's Thursday, we got Iwakuma. Well, it's Friday, and they're getting Felix Hernandez. So they know how good he is. But I think Buck Showalter was talking to him down on the bench. He said, you never really know what's going to happen in this game. If you knew, then, we could just call it in. We would already know what's going to happen. There's no excitement. So Felix Hernandez has been on those roles, 2 a run less, 7 innings in his last 12 starts. But Kevin Gausman for the Orioles has been pitching. He didn't pitch well in his last start, but at 93-0. So you just don't know what's going to happen here tonight.
So tonight it is Game 2 in this 4-game series as the Orioles look to pad their record and maintain their hold in the AL East. When we come back, we'll chat with Caleb Joseph. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Well, it was a gorgeous day in Seattle today, still is, as the Orioles and Mariners play nighttime baseball, Game 2 in this 4-game series. And Caleb Joseph has really done an outstanding job, the defensive part of the game, since taking over with Matt Wieters going on the disabled list for the season. In fact, there is no catcher in all of Major League Baseball who is better at catching potential base stealers than Caleb. Coming into tonight, he's exactly 50%. And when you consider the Major League average is 27.1 and you have better numbers than Yadier Molina, you're on to something. And we spoke with Caleb and asked him, what is it about his game that enables him to be so efficient gunning down base stealers?
Well, a lot of it has to do with, the times that my pitchers are giving me. They've done such a great job giving me a chance to throw guys out. And, we have probably the best tagger in all of baseball, J.J. Hardy. Guys have talked about it over and over and over. But until you play with him and realize how good of a tagger he is, he single-handedly has gotten 4 or 5 guys for me. And John Scope's done a great job, and Flash too. But a lot of hard work put into it, and hopefully we can keep it rolling.
You obviously had been developing your style defensively before you got here. You didn't just show up and have this happen. Who was it that influenced you and made it clear to you that if you were going to play in the big leagues, the defense had to be a big part of it? I
mean, John Russell, the bench coach, he basically told us in spring training, if you cannot catch, you will not play. And, you hear it over and over and over that defense comes first, but it's a reality with this team. And Don Warner's been that guy for me too in the minor leagues. Hey, let's continue to work on your defense, and Buck demands it, that you can control the staff, call a good game, and keep the game moving smoothly, just as Matt does every time when he's out there. And it's not an easy task, but when you do it right, it feels good.
You're continuing to hone your craft here. That's obvious because you're doing so well. What do you do to keep sharp so you don't take a step back?
We watch a lot of video. I'm trying to make sure that you're framing pitches the way that you feel like you're framing them. Sometimes you feel a certain way and it looks different. And going back and looking at the umpire's view and kind of how that may help. Staying in the game, talking with Nick Hundley, he's been great. Always trying to bounce ideas off of him, and obviously staying in constant communication with John Russell and the pitching coaches on how to approach guys. And just an everyday grind that you kind of get into a routine of practice and talking and communicating and then watching and then forming your own ideas that you kind of pull from. So huge team effort all the way around, and it's been good so far.
You've been here 2.5 months, so you're a seasoned veteran by now, no longer that rookie guy on the bench. What has been most enlightening to you about being in the big leagues, the big league life, and being part of it as a player?
Man, enlightening. Being able to really travel around kind of outside of the whole baseball aspect, just being able to travel around and see a lot of places, in America that I haven't been before, it's been really cool. Like this city is really awesome, Seattle. But just kind of meeting people and establishing relationships inside of baseball is something that I kind of look forward to, just looking down the line in terms of working in baseball and continuing to be involved in the game, establishing and creating the relationships we have here. And these guys are teammates that will be friends for a really long time. We have such a close-knit group here. So really everything about the big leagues is pretty awesome.
And Caleb Joseph is part of that, and he's in the lineup again tonight. Here's our Train game time temperature. Visit trainsearch.com to find your local Train Comfort Specialist dealer. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. 71 degrees, just a slight wind, and that humidity down to 49%. Absolutely clear, not a cloud in the sky in Seattle. And here's the Orioles Southwest Airlines starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. Marquez career versus Felix Hernandez, good numbers. That's the good news. The bad news, Felix is good against everybody. And Marquez fouls it back, and we're underway. The rest of the Orioles lineup is Pierce, Jones, and Cruz, with Davis in the number 5 spot, then Hardy, Flaherty, Joseph, and Scope.
And there is the pitch selection for a guy they call the King. The breaking ball, his slider and curveball changeup is about a 90-mile-per-hour changeup. So there's 92. He got the first pitch that he got was probably the best one you're going to get off Felix. So there they are. That's the lowest ERA in the American League. He's second in innings,
I mean, all his numbers are right in the top 3 or 4 or number 1, and righties don't hit him at all. Keeps the ball in the ballpark. 5 home runs.
Towards the hole. There's Brad Miller. He's got a good arm off the bag, but keeping his foot on the base, Logan Morrison. And there's a nice play in the back end for an out.
Yeah, take a look at the defense for the Mariners here at Safeco Field. Ackley, Jones, and Chavez. Seager, the All-Star. Miller, Cano won a couple of Gold Gloves. Logan Morrison over at first, and then Mike Zunino, the rookie, former #1 draft choice. But talk about defense when you, again, only 5 home runs, but coming in 288 balls. 211 on the ground, 88 in the air. So a lot of ground balls from Felix Hernandez, if he's not striking you out.
Well, he does that pretty good, 9.7 per 9 innings. So,
well, he's got a lot of options, and you got to hope that you pitch well, and then maybe there's a curveball, and Pierce just misses a double. You hope that maybe like Iwakuma last night, he'll have, I don't know if he's going to have a 4-run inning like the Orioles got off of Iwakuma, and maybe hang a slider like he did to Delman Young. But boy, a 2-run inning off the way that Hernandez is pitching is a big inning. He's been that good.
Boyd McClendon's team has lost 3 in a row. And Pierce swings through it. He's down on strikes. There's number 1 for Hernandez and 2 away.
Well, he throws so many strikes, and he's got so many different ways. He's a big guy, 6'3", well into the 220s. This will be his 9th year in the big leagues. And there's a breaking ball, and Steve can't quite get to it as he had to try to protect down and away.
Well, he has 63 wins in his career. 63 of the 121 are here in his home ballpark. And that is the most wins of anyone in Mariners history. Of course, prior to coming to this field, they had all those years in the Kingdome, but he has been that consistent. So 2 down. Here's Adam Jones. And Adam fouls it back. Adam comes in 1 for 11 over his last 3 games. And this is Hall of Fame territory, Jim.
Oh, yeah. Well, you just don't do that. You talk about, Randy Johnson, Mike Scott when he pitched with the Astros back in '86. Just consistency. I mean, that's what you strive for. And then you got to pitch well. You have to have a good defensive ball club. And if you look at his lines, doesn't mean he's always going to win because they don't score that many runs.
Towards the middle, and Adam Jones has a 2-out single.
Well, you're always with Felix because, again, he's going to make you put the ball in play, but he has pitched a perfect game, so you want to get a hit out of the way, and he's saying right there, I got that ball too much into the middle of the game. And August 15th, 2012, he did pitch that perfect game. Did win the Cy Young Award. That was back in 2010. Kind of interesting. He was 13-12, but his numbers were so overwhelming. He won. The year before, he was 19-5, and he didn't win.
And Cruz looks it over low. Well, Nelson, even though he's cooled off a little bit with the home runs, Jim, still very adept home run rate. A home run every 13.7 at bats.
Well, he was so hot, and then when you look, Abreu, Encarnacion, who's still injured with the quad. We all know how, because he's in the American League East, see him so much. He had 18 of those 28 home runs on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's got 51 RBIs on the road, just 23 at Camden Yards.
If you make good pitches, you can get Nelson out, as you can with most hitters. But if you make a mistake, that's where that home run every 13 time comes up. It's not a single. It can be a drive somewhere.
Jones goes. The throw to second base. The tag. He is out at second base in a bang-bang play. Robinson Cano applying the tag. Jones doesn't agree with Manny Gonzalez, and Buck is going to come out. So we'll see if we may have a challenge here in the first inning.
Yeah, he'll run out, talking about Buck Showalter, and then Adam Gladstone will look at the film. So it looked like, actually, boy, hard to tell from that angle. The tag.
Oh, he's safe.
Yeah, I think so. I think he tagged him up on the leg. In the old days, if you just get the glove down, it's kind of what Caleb Joseph was talking about. Some of the great, that was Tennessee for Tagger. It sounded like Tiger, but it was actually Tagger. Drop the glove. In the old days, that would work. But now as we take a look right here. So it's a short hop. So I think he beat it.
Yeah, I think the foot was in before the tag, and Buck apparently is not going to challenge.
And it's not that he wasn't safe. It's just, again, what's your video guy doing? It's Adam Gladstone saying, was there something to overturn this call? And apparently not.
So a base hit, none left, will lead to the bottom of the first. Gausman goes to work for the O's. Played game 2 in this 4-game series. Let's get a look at the Seattle lineup for tonight. Chavez, Jones, and Cano with Kendrys Morales in that cleanup spot. Just acquired yesterday in a trade for the Minnesota Twins after not re-signing here with Seattle following last year. Seager, Ackley, and Morrison with Zunino and Brad Miller at short, rounding it out.
Well, Kevin Gausman, you can see a lot of fastballs. Breaking balls, still a work in progress. Change up, he's got 2 of them, circle change, and then the splitter change. So in his last start, got roughed up in Oakland, had an extra day. There are the numbers, so the ERA went up. And when I talk about roughed up, 9 hits, 5 runs, and hardly ever walks anybody. 6 strikeouts. He didn't pitch that poorly. They're a very good hitting ball club, and he wasn't exactly on his game.
They'll get ahead of Endy Chavez, the former Oriole.
Yeah, Andy, 150 at bats, started the year down at where you landed the other day, Oklahoma. Yes. AAA. Pretty close to here.
I was in the vicinity.
Well, it is SeaTac. It was Seattle
Tacoma International.
Gateway to Asia.
Yes.
Yes.
And Alaska.
Well, that too.
Just missing inside. For Gausman, this is just the second time this year that he is making a start for the Orioles on what would be normal rest. So you pitch, and then the other 4 guys pitch, and then you pitch again. Good off-speed pitch, 2-2. He pitched June 7th against the Athletics. Then he didn't pitch again until June 12th against Toronto. So he's had 6 days in between starts once, 7 days twice, as he deals 2-2, and a tapper over the head. This is going to be a tough play. Scope will hurry, and he won't get him, won't even throw.
Yeah, well, that's the smart play. You make a good pitch. Chavez, who's, 36. He comes in, hit him. He's not a home run guy, 253 hitter with a home run, 10 RBIs, and those 150 at bats. And this is what he does. He's a veteran guy that on a good pitch with 2 strikes, he can put it in play. And sometimes you get fortunate, lucky. And Kevin Gausman, as high as he can go. And this is again the awareness defensively of Jonathan Scope. Why throw it away? Had no play.
Here is James Jones, another speedster, and Flaherty in tight.
Yeah, you got a veteran, so now you all of a sudden you can hit Jones. He led off against Chen, the left-hander, last night. Wayne winning for the 11th time. And walked, stole a base. Now all of a sudden, and you got this nice little hole here for the left-hand hitter. Even though when you watch him in batting practice, boy, he uses the whole field. You have to hit a home run. Line drive hitter. First year in the big leagues.
He has 1 for his last 15. Did get on with a leadoff walk last night. But Gausman, of course, he came up and started against the Tigers on May 14th, then went back to the minors and did not start again until June 7th. There's a strike taken. But Jim, he's had 6 days between starts once, 7 days twice, 8 days once, and 9 days once.
Well, everybody thought I made a controversial statement about a month ago when they were talking about, letting him pitch, and then like they did in his first start, bring him back with not the normal rest. Came back and pitched with on the 4th day instead of the 5th day, and did not pitch against the Tigers. They want to maintain his innings. They want him to be available because this will be his first full year of starting, and be able, if they get to the postseason, to pitch. That makes total sense to me. But don't bring a guy up with different baseballs when you're throwing in the minor leagues 7-8 days. Bring him up on short rest, because you don't really get to know whether he's just inexperienced or is he not able to adapt to that.
Lifted to left field. On the run is Pierce, and he'll run it down. Nicely done. Steve Pierce ran it down. Now the Orioles in the game last night, they won the game early because of outstanding defense. In the first inning, there's Chris Davis. He takes a base hit away from Romero. Then the play at the plate made by Chen. And to close out that first inning, Nick Markakis with that diving catch off of Corey Hart.
So take a look at today's defense. You've already seen Steve Pierce. Jones and Markakis have won Gold Gloves. Flaherty with Machado's back problems. Hardy a couple of Gold Gloves. Scope playing it. Davis played very well defensively last year. And then the rookie Caleb Joseph. That is your Oriole defense, brought to you by Chevrolet. And it's running smoothly. All the cylinders are clicking offensively.
Cano takes ball 1. Robinson second in the American League in batting at .329. He is third in base hits with 125.
So let's see, rookie pitcher. When he gets ahead, they're hitting 187, and when he gets behind, they're hitting 301. So that's a big difference. And it's funny, after the game in Oakland, which is pretty much what happened, they would get behind. He said, yeah, I kept throwing that sinker on the outside corner and ended up about 3, 4, 5, 6 inches away. Maybe I ought to aim for the outside third. I said, you went to LSU, didn't you? And that's what he worked on in between. But right now, you can almost eliminate the breaking ball. And if he throws it tonight, he'll even be more effective. But, I mean, he has a fabulous arm. His windup is really good. He's very athletic. It's not like a guy, that's one of the great pitchers that couldn't do anything other than pitch was Dean Chance. Won a Cy Young, pitched 12 shutouts, couldn't bunt, couldn't field, but he could throw a sinker and a slider. Kevin Gausman has a great arm. He's not one of those guys. And he could also be a boxing promoter, talking about Dean Chance. But
this ball's going to fall, base hit left field, right over the glove of Flaherty. Hardy retreats to third base to keep Chavez at second.
Yeah,
how about these two hits?
He almost got that ball. Well, the Mariners have really struggled for runs. As you mentioned, they've lost, 4 of their last 5? They scored 8 runs in those losses. And in one of them, and then you go back, they lost, 3 of the previous 4? They got 5 runs in one of those games. So, their manager, Lloyd McClendon, said, hey, we're offensively challenged. And because Andy Chavez thought that maybe Flaherty might catch it, he doesn't get to third base. So he couldn't. It was impossible to get a read off the bat that would have allowed him to be going on the pitch. So that's a little bit of a break.
And here is Kendrys Morales back with Seattle. He was with the Mariners last year. Rounded to first base. Davis gloves. He'll go to first base unassisted to get the sure out and 2 men down. So Chavez to third and Cano to second with 2 men out. Well, Kevin Gausman on the mound making his 9th start. And let's get a closer look at the numbers, his wins versus losses.
Well, that's normally. I don't think, in a young pitcher, occasionally when you're bad, you're real bad, and when you're good, and he's been good on a lot of occasions. So, you know, the strikeouts, he strikes out people, and of course the whip is the walks and hitting, you know, and hits per 9 innings. And what do you do each inning? And so obviously that goes up. But at the end of the day, he's learning how to pitch in the pennant race at the major league level. And he's got 2 weapons. Would like to have a third. Would like to tighten up the breaking balls, as I mentioned. There's the changeup. I mean, he added a different changeup in spring training. Came to camp maybe, 10, 12 pounds heavier because went on a little bit better workout program. Oriole trainer Richie Vancell said that while LSU has a good record, he did not have he had a great arm, but not a lot of arm strength as far as building it up. So they've worked hard to try to do that.
1-0 on Seager, 2 in scoring position. And again, missing low. Nice job by Joseph. Now, you mentioned the slider, and obviously a breaking ball for a starter, a pitch that you'd love to have. He does have the 2 different kinds of off-speed pitches, though. He has the splitter and the changeup. So can that help circumvent, if you will, the fact that his slider at this point is not as reliable as he'd like?
Oh, yeah. I just think you have to be very judicious when you throw the slider because you just don't know where it's going to go. But, yeah, he does have changeups. But there's still always, when you throw 93 to 99, and that's his capability, that's his range with his fastball, they're always going to be hitting over the fastball, which is why when he gets ahead, he can use all his pitches. We've already seen him to Chavez throw a 2-1 changeup. So he's not real predictable. But I think when the ball is up, it's a little bit straighter than when it's down at the knees. And there's a changeup. So they can't sit fastball because Kevin Gausman does have the changeup, and again he has the 2 different. This looks like just a straight changeup, so it just turns it over a little bit. And you're talking about an all-star here. And Seager can hit. And he got 1 base hit last night. He really put on some good swings against Chin. And then when you're able to pitch backwards, in other words, throw a changeup in a fastball count, all of a sudden everything changes. They have no idea what's coming.
And the 2-2 is just outside, ball 3. Another off-speed pitch.
And all you have to do is go into their dugout, and Felix Hernandez, who came up to the big leagues at age 19, we would say when you get a little more experience, the difference between going 3 and 2 is you throw that last pitch, which was a good one, over the plate or just off the corner. It just wasn't close enough to get Seager to go for it.
Big pitch here. And the 3-2. He got him. Swing and a miss. Seager down on strikes. So he stayed off speed, and he gets Seager. 2 left. We'll head to the second. No score. Of Westminster has won $500 by being selected and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit in the game tonight. You can play the Orioles scratch off in the Maryland Lottery for your chance to be a contestant of the game, and you could win a trip to the 2014 World Series. Find out how at mdlottery.com/Orioles. Felix Hernandez allowed a 2-out single to Adam Jones, but Adam Jones was caught trying to steal on a bang-bang play.
Yeah, first time that Jonesy's been thrown out all year. Doesn't do a lot of running. A couple of stolen bases over this trip in Oakland.
So Cruz, who was batting when Jones was gunned down, will lead off.
You know, those are the numbers we're talking about.
Down the left field line. That's a bullet. That is gone! It got over the wall for a home run. Wow! A laser beam down the line, and the Orioles grab the lead.
Well, that's what he brings to the lineup. And when you make a mistake, he usually doesn't hit soft base hits the other way. So 29 home runs. Like maybe a changeup. You have to understand, it's not an eephus pitch because it's 90 miles per hour, but he's got a changeup that he throws conventionally. Talking about Felix Hernandez, and the bottom drops out, but when he gets it up, it does, because it's about 3-4 miles per hour, speeds the bat up. But that ball looked like off the bat a double.
And Henry Buettner, our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, wins another $500 just like that. Just like that. As Davis takes the ball.
So again, only the 6 home runs. You know, 1 minute you're enjoying your hot dog or your pretzel, the next minute you're ducking.
And swing and a miss, 2-1 on Davis. So Nelson Cruz, Jim, had gone 39 at-bats without an RBI, and he hits the home run. His 6th consecutive season now, 20 home runs and 75 RBIs. That was RBI number 75.
Well, one of the great acquisitions, not only for the Orioles, but in baseball, to get him late, right before spring training, and to get him for a reasonable price. That's going to change wherever he plays next year.
Well, hopefully here. Good at bat for Davis. He swung through a couple of pitches, but the count now full. Chris has a modest hitting streak intact, 3 in a row. He's 3 for 11, but no RBIs in those 3 games. And called strike 3. Davis thought he had ball 4, nodding his head no. Yeah, disagrees with Brian Knight.
Yeah, well, he thinks it's off the plate. You know, he got called out the first time yesterday. Take a look at our pitch track. I mean, the ball is just outside, and you know why these umpires think, you know, they get on one side of the shoulder, they have to look across the plate. But that's it. You know, when a guy throws a changeup, it's an easy pitch to call. But it's, and I'm not just saying because I broadcast for the Orioles. You know, you want that. I mean, Felix Hernandez is ecstatic about the fact that he got that pitch. But hitters, they get real annoyed when you try to pride yourself in knowing the strike zone. Even we know Chris Davis strikes out a lot, and then they call a ball 2-3 inches off the outside corner a strike.
Already behind, no balls and 2 strikes. So Hernandez already with 2 Ks early on. In 163 and 151 in the 3rd innings coming in.
Well, the high is down to Tampa Bay, where he struck out 15. 11, 11, 15, 10, 9, 9, 8, all over the place.
And he's trying to tie Hall of Famer Tom Seaver tonight. Stat that we showed you last inning. As Hardy bounces it foul, he has 12 consecutive starts, at least 7 innings, and 2 runs or fewer. Only Tom Seaver has done that more than any other pitcher. His record 13 from July to September 1971. He is tied with Chief Bender, who's also in the Hall of Fame with his 12. And another foul ball as Hardy spoils a good pitch.
Well, the other thing about Felix Hernandez and what we were talking about is came in 211 on the ground, 88, is that his pitch efficiency is fabulous. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's maybe not. I mean, he can pitch 8 innings and throw 108 pitches. And when you start looking around, I mean, and at some of his pitch counts, you can realize not only can he get you out, he can do it very efficiently. 14.3 pitches per inning. And I can't recall the last time I have done a game where somebody is under 15 pitches per inning and have the numbers that he has. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the sinker goes down, the changeup goes down, the breaking ball when thrown right, they're all Perfect pitch there.
Paints the outside corner for a strikeout and 2 away.
Yeah, you're hoping it's going to be low, and it just has enough extra life, and then low and away.
Framed nicely.
Yeah, Zunino can really, for a young catcher, he presents a nice target. He holds it. For a guy that's really in his first full year out of the University of Florida. We were up here 2 years ago when the day of the draft. Yeah.
Here's Flaherty in the breaking ball for a strike. Well, to put in perspective the innings eater that Felix Hernandez is, Flaherty's got a 2-game hitting streak going. He has gone at least 7 innings in 16 of his 21 starts. The Orioles as a staff have done that 23 times, and he's done it 16 times by himself.
Well, that is why he's the king.
And he has a court.
They're out in left field. And what do they call him? The Supreme Court when he pitched the perfect game?
A 1-1 on Flaherty.
To me, part of pitching is, okay, they give you a scouting report, and on Ryan Flaherty would be, okay, real good fastball hitter, better high ball hitter, maybe middle in, but not way in. Get him out some other way. So you talk about that, and you talk to your catcher, and then you come out, and the guys who can really pitch can do that. Or their fastball is good enough, and his is too, that he could actually throw them sinkers away. But so right here, 2-2. He's already established a changeup and a curveball. And there's a changeup that misses. But I think what we've seen after working with V.J. Surhoff in the offseason, that Ryan Flaherty's a better hitter than he was last year. He's learned that, hey, to play at this level, even though he doesn't play that much, he's going to have to be a little bit more adept at hitting the breaking ball.
And the 3-2 is hit towards first. That's going to stay fair. Morrison step on the bag, and the inning ends. But the Orioles, on a shot by Nelson Cruz, laser beam line drive down the line, and the O's grab a 1-0 lead. Orioles content on social media by joining the O's Bird's Nest. You can join the conversation now, osbirdsnest.com. Plus, enter today's promo code MEMORIAL before midnight, and you'll receive 2 bonus tokens and be entered to win a monthly prize of an autographed player photo or a year-end prize of 2 tickets to 2015's opening day. Join the O's Bird's Nest today and start being rewarded. Oh, we had a nice visit with actor Thomas Sadowski there on the right, and his lovely wife Kimberly on the left. Actor on the hit show on HBO, The Newsroom, and a huge Baltimore fan. Kimberly grew up in Canton, right downtown in Baltimore. And Jim, you were teasing Thomas about his hat. He is so superstitious, he had to wear that hat to the game tonight. But what a great guy.
Well, he's got the early lead. And whether it can be maintained.
And he's a real good actor.
Do not take that hat
Look,
off.
he's keeping score. I love it. Look at that.
And the other thing is, I guess he just ended up doing a movie or something with
With
Josh
Josh
Charles,
Charles.
another terrific actor. Who's
Yeah, I asked him on the field. We did a piece for O's Extra, and I said, well, Kim, your wife is from Baltimore. Do you know Josh Charles? He goes, yeah, he's one of my best friends in the business, and we just did a movie.
Well, so it's good that Josh actually has a job after he was killed in The Good Wife. Well, his character was
Didn't
killed.
he orchestrate that, though?
I don't know. Yeah, well, I think so. But it's when you really got clout in the industry.
That's right. You have other things on the horizon.
No, you're playing your own death.
Right.
And to live.
So you can go make a movie with Thomas.
Live another day. Yes. Sounds like a James Bond movie.
Well, apparently the movie has Thomas, it has Josh, and it has Sarah Silverman as the 3 stars. So I have no idea. I guess it's a comedy.
No, I would imagine with Sarah Silverman.
2-2 on Ackley.
Or at least they hope it is.
As Ackley slaps it foul. Ackley's got a 7-game hitting streak going. The bearded one. 444 in the last 7 games. Now that would be a good look for you. Nice full beard. Or not.
Yes.
Line drive caught by Davis at first. And Ackley's retired for the at and 1 away. And now time for all fans to tweet their photo using the hashtag MASSINFANPHOTOS for a chance to have it shown in a future broadcast. All brought to you by AT&T. Like that gentleman is doing right now. You should have seen the home run hit by Cruz.
Yeah, you don't want to be looking away when he did it because he got out of here so quickly. And even though they have what they call their diamond vision, but it is spectacular. So
What was funny about that home run, the young lady who got the souvenir, she ducked not to get hit, and the ball rolled right to her. There she is. She's still getting congratulations. Look, here it is. Here's the baseball.
yeah, Logan Morrison
Had it all the way.
Well, still the best home run I've seen is the one off Tommy Hunter that Prince Fielder hit in Detroit, 461 feet away, and a guy knocked his hat off, hit him right in the chest. He had a drink. Can you imagine 461 feet away and you get plunked by a ball? He was closer to his hotel room than he was to the home plate. He got hit in the chest. And then I think he actually sent a picture of the bruise on his chest to some of the broadcasters for the Tigers. Yeah, see, so no sliders yet. And, maybe not 2 lefties. It's funny, Kevin Gausman, and I agree with him. He said, I like pitching against lefties better than righties.
Now, why would that be?
Fastball changeup. Doesn't have to throw the slider. Or doesn't feel he has to.
Well, if that's the case, Lloyd McClendon cooperated tonight. Here's the 2-2, and it's low. 8 of the 9 coming up against Gausman will bat left-handed. Only the catcher, Zunino, will bat from the right side.
So the numbers, indicated 292 with no home runs, more home runs. The only 2 he's given up are to lefties, but the batting average, about 32 points lower.
So from 0-2 to 3-2 on a hitter who is struggling. And bounced into the shift. Scope charges, plays the hop, and gets it to first. That was harder than it looked. 2 down.
They're all hard. He makes them look easy. Just think about it. The reason it used to be that Manny Machado, before Jonathan Scope was the everyday second baseman, when he was playing, he would go out there because of his range and his arm. Now with Jonathan, you don't have to do that. And when he gets the balls, you don't realize how far it is from where they play to first base. And there is Manny Machado hanging over the railing.
He's expected to be back in the lineup tomorrow, according to Buck, towards the middle. Hardy will get there. And JJ guns it to first to get Zunino. And how about that? The Orioles get Gausman a run, and he has a 3-up, 3-down inning. Manny and the Birds have the lead. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by Luna. For beautiful new carpet, hardwood, and laminate, call 877-241-LUNA. Well, Jim, we missed the ferry again going to Bremerton. Across the Puget Sound.
Oh, it's beautiful up here.
Big naval base over there. Wei Chen able to relax after a great game.
Yeah, it really was. 8 innings, shutout ball. I'd like to comment, and Buck Showalter was talking about it, the outstanding defensive play. In fact, there were, 3, and one of his in the first inning. When it looked like the Mariners might score a play or score a run, and he said you can condition pitchers, you can have them throw, and then you can have them doing the pitchers' fielding drills or the PFPs. And he said that's all I ask of them in spring training. I don't want them to stand around there all day just to be there, but when you do your throwing, when you do your conditioning, and when you're doing your fielding drills, pay attention. And last night, what did Wei Chen say? He said, hey, did it all spring.
Yep.
And it worked in the game. Jeez, big surprise.
Well, this group is very coachable. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, the pregame interview with Caleb, he consistently brought up what John Russell tells him, what Don Werner in the minor leagues told him, what Matt Wieters told him. I mean, it's all about people with knowledge imparting the knowledge on the players they need to help enact that play on the field. And Chen certainly did that last night. There's John Russell with the skipper. Wei Chen, you could argue, won that game in the first inning because of the defense.
Well, it certainly changes your momentum. Iwakuma been pitching well. He was 3-0 in July. He gets a run. I always felt if I got a run early, they have to get 2 before I'm going to relinquish the lead. I mean, that's the way you think. If you get 2 early, hey, they got to get 3 runs. Well, they can't do that.
Caleb Joseph left field. He got a lot of that one. Back on it is Ackley, and that ball is off the wall, and it's in play. Heading to second base and hustling the second base is Caleb Joseph. So there's a leadoff double, and he just missed a home run.
Yeah, it looked like he almost hit it with one hand. Had a really big offensive year, but it was Double-A. Little changeup, speeds up the bat. But we've seen 2 changeups in the middle of the plate. Cruz hit the home run. Better slide because it's in front of you. And let's see now how the Orioles play this. Again, 12 straight games, trying to make it 13, where he's given, at least pitched 7 innings, and he's given up less than 2 runs or less. So let's see if they. Scope is either going to bunt him over.
Whoa! Breaking ball. Fortunately.
Well, good way to find out if he's squaring around. Ball went right over his helmet.
Wow.
Well, what? J.J. Hardy? What? He got hit in the helmet in Oakland. That's a good little duck. Do the limbo. J.J. Yeah, it's just a splitter. Right in the top of the helmet.
No big deal. Scope has 2 sacks on the year. Squares again and bunts it foul.
Yeah, that approach, that technique was not very good. You want to get the bat head out in front of the plate, otherwise you're going to bunt it straight down in foul territory. Buck and I were talking about it today, Buck Showalter, is that again you really, the bat angle never changes. You just kind of like an elevator, your knees to get you from down in the strike zone to the top of the zone. It's just a wave. I mean, he's got to work on his little bunting because that's a horrible technique. And he can shake his head, but you're just not going to be successful. So.
And we would like to welcome those of you who watched the Nationals beat Cincinnati by the final of 4-1. As Jonathan Scope strikes out, cannot move the runner along. There's Nelson Cruz, his home run, a laser beam over the left field wall, has given the Orioles a 1-0 lead. Kevin Gausman, 2 scoreless innings. And Felix Hernandez allowing the run on the Cruz home run, which was his 29th of the year. Jim Hunter with Jim Palmer and our crew here at Safeco Field as the Orioles try to make it back-to-back wins in this series. They beat Iwakuma last night, and now they're trying to beat the best in the league. Felix Hernandez. There's Caleb Joseph, leadoff double. And here's Markakis.
Well, right here on the list of to do, work on your bunting when you get back to Baltimore. Because you have limited opportunities to score off a guy like Felix Hernandez. So when you get a leadoff double, when your rookie catcher doubles over the left fielder's head, get him to third. Now all of a sudden, I mean, just give you not that Nick Markakis can't, what, a 290 drive in a run, but it would have been a lot easier with the infield in. And not only does it easier to drive, it all plays into the whole game plan, which is if you play the infield in and he gets a base hit, now all of a sudden you got Pierce coming up. So that's how you maybe get more than 2 runs against a guy like Hernandez.
Breaking ball is high, 2-1. And, you know, Buck talks about this quite a bit, and he is not one that looks for excuses at all. Just because Jonathan in the minors may have batted 3rd or 4th does not mean you don't work on your bunting there. So when you come here and you're batting 8th or 9th, where it is going to come into play, that you're effective at it.
Well, I don't care where you play, you need to be able to bunt. Adam Jones hits 3rd or 4th. He bunts for a base hit. Yeah. Robbie Alomar in the Hall of Fame, every day at home he would come out early and bunt.
2-1, too tight, nearly hit him, ball 3. Nick bounced out to shortstop his first at bat.
Well, we showed you the numbers, and they're glowing. Markakis off of the Felix, and he came in 13 for 28. So maybe Felix saying, I'd rather pitch to Pierce. I'll either make my pitch with the second run out of third.
Down to second base. There's Cano.
There was a changeup, and just that that extra 3 or 4 miles per hour, even though it was up, it just got Nick out in front. We don't see him do that, so he gets fooled just a little bit. And instead of maybe back up the middle or the left field, he grounds over and rolls over it.
And here are Jeep inside the numbers. The lowest opposition OPS, and King Felix right at the top. And when you're ahead of Clayton Kershaw on anything, you're doing a good job. Kershaw leads the major leagues in ERA with 1.98. Inside, nearly hit Pierce, 1-0.
Well, Felix pitches in the American League when they have the DH, and he's a 202. It gives you an idea of how good he is.
Pierce struck out his first at bat.
The most earned runs, and you got to go all the way back against Tampa on the 12th of May that he's given up this year is what, 4? It's not a lot of runs. Back-to-back games where he gave up 4 runs, and came up in Oakland, only 3 of them were earned.
It's kind of funny. This is regarded as a pitcher's park. He's now allowed 6 home runs, and 4 have been here. Only 2 in his road starts.
There's your low strike, a little extra. And the irony is that line drive, they moved the fences in last year. And moved him. It would have been, it's really the bottom of the scoreboard used to be the left field line. So that would have been a double. It would have been off the wall and then all the way out in right center. So the other scoreboard used to go right there. So obviously that home run, they added some seats. They brought it a little bit in deep right center field, and I think a little bit in left center. I mean, it's still a very, very big ballpark. Plenty of room to pitch. A little bit more difficult to pitch. But if you went all the way out here, that's where they brought it in, and I think they also brought it out in this area. They brought it in just enough.
And you saw Zunino with a nice block there. Hernandez has thrown 13 wild pitches this year. And he gets Pierce to get out of it. So the Orioles get a leadoff double, and Caleb Joseph left stranded. Mid-third in Seattle, 1-0 O's. outlast the Mariners in 18 innings. Pinch hitter Taylor Teagarden with the winning base hit to right field. Nate McLeod scored. O's go on to win 4-2 in the 5-hour, 44-minute contest. In 2012, the Orioles won 16 straight extra inning games, second to the 1949 Indians, who led MLB with 17 consecutive extra inning games.
Yeah, 69 wins in 93, 29 and 9 in one-run games. 18 innings here, 17 innings in Boston when Chris Davis ended up pitching, beating Darnell McDonald.
Did you work that game?
I worked them pretty much. If my remembrance is right. My memory's right.
My remembrance of it was a Tuesday night, and I was in the studio with Rick. And by the time we signed off on the 30-minute O's Extra post game, we were driving home, and people were going to work on Wednesday morning, and we hadn't been home yet. But it was an Orioles win, so it was all good.
Brad Miller, you can see, he got a little pop. He's been struggling, but a home run guy.
Miller did not play last night as the rookie Chris Taylor got his first big league start.
And played well.
So you got an ACC shortstop replacing an ACC shortstop as
Clemson.
Taylor out of University of Virginia and Miller out of Clemson.
Well, what, second round draft choice, I believe?
Now got a piece of Caleb Joseph, it looked like, 1 and 2. Chavez on deck, then Jones.
Yeah, all you got to do is
Chris Taylor.
Yeah. See Brad Miller swing a few times, and you know he likes the ball in the inside half. Last year, AA, AAA, the big league, 6, 6, and 8. So 20 home runs on the year.
Down and in, 2 and 2. Miller's got a 2-game hitting streak going. But both these lineups, the lower third, although the Orioles seem to get some big base hits in their lower third, but the batting averages are way down. 2-2 is just inside, ball 3. For Seattle, Morrison's batting .209, Zunino .201, and Miller .205. For the Orioles, you have Flaherty .217, Joseph at .195, although his will go up with his double, and Scope is at .214. Keeps it alive at 3 and 2. This is Gausman's first career appearance against Seattle. And just his 4th appearance and 3rd start against AL West opponents. He is 1-1 in his brief career. This is his 29th big league game. And a leadoff walk to the number 9 batters, batting .205. So the time run is on here in the 3rd. Time is running out on your chance to back your Birds during the second half of the season and enjoy Major League savings by reserving your Birdland Summer 6-pack. You'll get a ticket to any of 6 games of your choice for the remainder of the year and savings of up to 20% off the cost of single game tickets. So lock in your seats now for the most anticipated games of the postseason push and save. For all the details, get online, Orioles.com/6-pack, or call 888-848-BIRD. O's fans here. Chavez first ball swinging, pops it up.
Yeah, nobody playing over there. Flaherty in for the bunt just in case he drops one down. Yeah, Kevin Gausman, again, a youngster. First year he's going to be a starter. Last year started early, then pitched very well out of the bullpen. He's going to learn that leadoff batters, especially when they're struggling, the 2-2 pitch is critical. And he tried to come in to make the perfect pitch. And if I look at him, his strength's away. 2-2. He tried to come in, went to 3-2, then missed away. And all of a sudden, the tying run is down at first base, leading off.
There's the bunt. It's a perfect one. Gausman's going to have to hurry, and he gets it.
Yeah. And Flaherty gets back to third. See, there's the athleticism that a lot of guys don't have, because he thought Flaherty was going to catch it, and then he goes, oh, no, I can still make it. And he made it look easy. But this is a walk that's over at first. So, and again, a lot of balance, perfect throw over to Chris Davis. So they don't get an extra out. Nice bunt by Chavez. It probably a bunt for a base hit, but it serves the purpose of getting the tying run into scoring position. And if you're Lloyd McClendon and you're managing the Mariners, you'll take your chances trying to tie it up first, because of Hernandez has been better than most of the guys he's pitching against.
Here's James Jones. Takes a ball. So an off-speed pitch starting him off. Jones lined out to Pearson left field in the first inning.
42 pitches and still has not thrown a breaking ball, which is all right, I guess. I mean, eventually that's going to change. In college, he had both the slider and the curveball. But again, the ball to strike ratio not where you want to be. 24 strikes and 19 balls. Certainly can understand what maybe he's thinking. As I'm pitching against Felix Hernandez, I need to be perfect. But really, all you have to do is
be you.
Figure out exactly. But when you're that young, does he really know who you is?
Fly ball to left for Pierce. He'll back up on it. Tagging at second base is Miller. He's going to try to get to third, and the head first dive gets in there ahead of the throw. But 2 men down, and the fly ball out by Jones. Let's get a look at the repertoire of what Kevin Gausman has thrown so far. And his Jim is hunting for sliders.
Yeah, well, it's fastball changeup.
And the changeup, the 20%, some are straight change, some are splitters.
But they're plus pitches.
Yeah.
So he can get away with it. Now, normally, if you had a guy coming up, and it's not that he doesn't have a slider, or really doesn't even, not that he doesn't have a curveball, but he hasn't thrown it since college. This would be a guy that would go to the bullpen, only because you need to have a third pitch. Not that you have to throw them all to the same hitter. You like to have 3 to choose from.
Here's Cano, a tough out with 2 down. This is low.
Yeah, only hitting .350 with runners in scoring position. And that was the amazing thing. They get the Jones to third base with Cano up last night with only 1 out in the first, and he chased a pitcher's pitch. You don't see him do that early in the count, which is what he did off of Chen.
There's the strike with a fastball. Maybe 7 miles an hour on that pitch.
And it's easy 97. There's not a lot of, if you were in the dugout and Nolan Ryan was throwing 97 to 101, you could hear him grunting and all that. I mean, Hall of Fame career, over 5,000 innings and 7 no-hitters. This is just, it could be easy.
Swept towards first. Davis is there. He'll go to the bag unassisted, and Gausman gets out of it again. That is 3 left on base, all 3 in scoring position. We head to the 4th, 1-0 O's. And Luis Gonzalez at Del Marva, outstanding outing yesterday, and no decision. But how about 6 scoreless innings on 3 hits without walking a batter and 8 strikeouts, 5-0 with a 2.44 ERA. and he's got a 14 1/3 consecutive scoreless inning streak going. He may be a late bloomer, Jim. He was with the Phillies. They let him go. He's 22 now, but he's pitching very well. It's his first season with a full season team. So he's lefty, he can pitch, you give him a chance.
And he's young. Turned 22 back in January.
So the Orioles, they have some interesting pitchers on the minor league level. Zach Davies is pitching well. Kyler Wilson pitched well yesterday. Buck was talking, as you look at Felix Hernandez, who's allowed 3 hits but only 1 run, that at this time of year, it's interesting to see when teams call offering players who they ask for back. As Adam Jones takes a strike, and he said, you look for that line. Well, if you throw in so-and-so, just throw him in, then you'll get the guy that you're looking for. That throw-in may be a real good pitcher who's just on the verge of putting it together. And he said, Dan Duquette and his staff, the challenge is you have to know your system as well as the players you're trying to trade for. So you don't give up on somebody too soon, and then it may come back. So the chess game of the trade deadline.
I mean, like Miguel Gonzalez, pitching in the Mexican League, and now he's pitching every 5th day for the Orioles.
Yep. Red Sox let him go, and
now he did have some injuries, so
right, but
yeah,
well, and that's good scouting. Fred Ferreira saw him, recommended him to Dan. Dan signed him, and when Miguel joined the Orioles, he was not even in the major league camp. He was just happy to have a job, and again, it's all about opportunity and what do you do with it when you get the opportunity.
Well, he'll get the opportunity on Sunday again.
The 2-2 on Jones, who singled his first at bat. Down on strikes here, so there's number 6.
So let's see. He's got a moving fastball, 93-94. This slider is the die for. The bottom just drops out, and that's. If you could.
Now here's the King's Court. They always stand up when there's 2 strikes and hold the K cards. How did that guy get in there? Look at that! Is awesome.
Well, he was participating.
Well, but he's an Oriole fan. Maybe he was like, no, don't strike him out. Cruz broke his bat to left field, or he might have had another one. Ackley's there and 2 men down. So Cruz, 2 pitches put in play, 1 out, 1 stayed in.
Could you imagine doing that in some of the Northeast cities?
Oh, with the Oriole fan?
Yeah, or maybe down south.
My thought is maybe the Oriole fan, his buddy had the seat, and he said, "Well, yeah, I'll come, but I'm wearing my Oriole shirt."
Yeah, but I'm surprised they haven't gotten the straitjacket out and put a yellow T-shirt on him. Yeah, there we go. See, they're not even talking to him. They're just talking to the other guys. And
Chris Davis was called out on strikes his first at bat on a pitch that appeared to be off the plate. Bounced towards first, but foul.
You'd like Felix to make another mistake and Chris launch one without trying to launch it.
Pitch.
I mean, all those are plus pitches. The curveball doesn't roll, it dives. Slider just veers. And again, this is why he's Felix Hernandez. There's a little extra at 93. It's almost like he just kind of wasted that pitch off the outside. Not a waste, but just show him the fastball to maybe pull the string, get him out some other way.
Jim and I would like to say hi to the Delmarva Shorebirds, who are watching us as they are on their bus en route somewhere. Doug Newton, their public relations director, sent a message to us that they saw Luis Gonzalez featured on the minor league report by PNC. So hi, Shorebirds. Hi, Ryan Miner. How you doing, buddy? Millsy? Millsy's on the bus.
Alan Mills.
Yes,
one
he's
of
the
my
pitching
favorite
coach.
guys. Yeah, I hear he's doing a fabulous job. So keep paying attention to Alan. He knows his stuff.
Pitchers on that bus, listen to Millsy.
Yep, there you go.
So strike 3 call. That's 7. And he's gotten Davis twice. Well, into the bottom of the fourth, Seattle comes up down by a run. Baseball on Masson is brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Beautiful Seattle. Did you get to the Pike Street Market today?
No, early tomorrow.
Early tomorrow. We have a day game.
Early tomorrow.
Just making sure, I don't want to go solo up here.
Well, you'll be sleeping out here, but at 9:45 bus in the morning. 1:10 game, 105, 110. Ooh, that's a sandwich.
Tommy Hunter told me, saw him before the game, that he visited the market today and he had lunch down there. He said he's found a couple of spots where they sell the fish up front, but they actually have like little cafes behind them.
Oh, yeah. The restaurants are in the back.
Yeah.
That's where they throw the fish. Great bakeries, the original Starbucks down there.
So is that where you're taking me to dinner tomorrow?
The original Starbucks? Yes.
No.
Yes,
Oh, I thought we were going to have a nice
That's
fish.
where we're going.
It was Kendrys Morales who bounced out his first at-bat, playing his first game for the Mariners. They got him from the Twins yesterday.
We ought to tuck his shirt in. That's the blouse effect. Maybe the uniform doesn't fit.
Morales with Minnesota batted .234.
He did. It's funny, because of, again, the contract impasse, he became a free agent, and then he didn't even go to the minor leagues. So the reports I read, maybe the bat speed not as good as it was last year, where he led him in average, he led him in RBIs, led him in extra base hits, led him in home runs.
And like Jonathan Scope, he does not wear batting gloves. Pops it up. Jones in on it. He'll call off Hardy. And one away here in the fourth inning. So 2 innings, the first batter retired. 2 innings, the first batter reached off Gausman.
Well, you go back to the first, and Morales hit the first pitch to first base. A couple of guys on, an infield hit, and a jam shot by Cano, and then guy coming to the plate ended up striking out on a 3-2 changeup. Kyle Seager, who's been red hot, did make the All-Star team, does have home run power, and is a terrific third baseman. One of the best young players. And there's a curveball. Well, slider, whatever, but see, most people think with his arm that the slider probably should be 87, 88. So that's kind of like in between. But whatever it was, swerve, whatever you want to call it, was a good one.
Old Seager.
And it couldn't be. Looking for it, it's the first one of the night.
This ball's hit towards the gap. Long run for Jones, not going to get there. They'll play it on a hop. Seager's flying to second base, and he has a one-out double.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, Jim, that we were talking after he struck him out on the changeup, that he's a better high ball hitter than low ball hitter. Not too many lefties are. So again, it's just ball up. Didn't really finish the pitch, and good news about this for them, he gets the second. Good news for the Orioles, he doesn't get the third if the ball gets by him, because there's a lot of room out there.
Ackley lined out to Davis at first, his first at bat.
He eventually got a fastball inside and just turned on it and hit it right at Chris Davis. And there's a strike low and away.
And Ackley, 26 years old, out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
He's really used the whole field. He's got 20 hits to left, 22 to right, and 32 up the middle. Well, that's spreading the ball around. Power numbers have been down, but to me, that when he first came up, that's what he tried to do. And the league adjusted. He didn't, and now again trying to use the. And he's become a much better breaking ball hitter.
The Orioles play him straight away,
and they don't really play him that deep either.
Ball and a strike on Ackley with Seager at second. Go to second base. There's Scope.
And see, that's a perfectly executed changeup. And if you're a hitter, all you can do is roll over.
Well, fans, the Orioles are back home on Tuesday. They'll begin a 3-game series against the Angels. And that night, don't miss out on the season's next Ollie's Bargain Night, presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Every Tuesday home game, all upper reserve seats, just $9. You can celebrate the second half of the year at Oriole Park and root on your birds. So for tickets, let's get online, Orioles.com, or call 888-848-BIRD. These fans enjoying themselves here. Probably sending pictures to their friends. Are you jealous? I'm at the game. Cute foul.
Yeah, he's got, he's very much like Felix Hernandez in the fact that when he does throw his changeup, and that was one, there's great movement. And we told you too, you've got the splitter. That's going to go down a little bit more. But again, I think the other changeup, which is just a circle change, you kind of hold your hand up like you're going okay, and it slows the ball down because it's deeper into your hand. It's probably easier to throw for strikes. There's another one, just the ball dives and they get out in front.
Well, this is a guy you want to get. He's 5 for his last 50. It's a 100 batting club.
Yeah, I met him because he played with the Marlins, and before he hurt his knees, he had one of those years, 25 home runs, 25 doubles, pretty good average, and then had the patellar tendonitis, had to have an operation, which is very painful. And he still maintains that crouch that he had, kind of a little bit like John Jaso of Oakland that we saw when the Orioles were down there. He missed his spot there, and trying to go up and in. If you looked at Caleb Joseph's glove, it was right underneath his hands, and he missed out over the plate, but the stuff was good enough to be able to get him to foul it off. But 0-2, if you're coming in, get the ball in, because it will set up your other pitches if you miss.
The tying run at third with 2 down.
And they're coming in again. Look at Caleb moving. Just throws it easy, and it gets up there at 97.
Rick Riz, who is one of the broadcasters for Seattle, he stops by to visit with Jim and I every night, and likes to ask about the Orioles pitcher. And when we told him, he lives at around 97, hits 100, his eyes popped open. He hits 100? Yes, he does. And the 1-2 just outside, appeal to third, he didn't go.
Another changeup. Logan Morrison able to hold up.
Now that was the exact pitch that Davis was called out on.
Well, similar.
Same vicinity.
Yeah.
Caleb, you saw, tried to frame it there. Buck nodding his head.
Well, when you yank it back into the zone, which is because it was that far outside. Once again, trying to come in a little bit. And again, misses out over the plate. So, that's part of pitching is, okay, you're trying to make your pitch. You didn't. Then you have to read the bat. And that was a pretty good swing. But 97 up in the zone, and don't think that Buck and don't think that Dave Wallace, the Oriole pitching coach, that they're not aware. But part of it is, boy, if you don't see where the bat head is in your pitching, it's very difficult to be successful.
So another 2-2 pitch coming to Morrison.
And again,
foul back.
Yeah, and he just can't quite get it in to where the glove is. And he knows it. He's really talking to himself a little bit. Part of the growing pains right here.
Ubaldo Jimenez, by the way, pitched his simulated game today, and it went very well.
Yeah, I was talking to David Lowe, who was one of the hitters, and he said he was good. He said he loved it because how often do you get to see real-time pitching?
Simulated,
he goes down. He's one of those guys that'll go down. There, we're looking at Ubaldo right there, but David goes down and tracks pitches. Yeah, there you go.
Struck him out on the inside corner. So Caleb Joseph set up inside. Gausman hits the glove, and he gets out of it. So 4 stranded, all in scoring position, and the O's hold the lead. The teaching never stops. There's Dave observing and telling Kevin what he saw, what he thought Kevin should have seen. And Dave Wallace is one of the best pitching coaches you're going to have. And
well, former pitcher. I mean, not a lot, but he had 13 appearances in the big leagues. But he's going, hey, you know, part of pitching is you know, being stubborn and tenacious, and they're the well, talk about Felix again, 12 in a row, 7 innings, 2 runs or less. So the changeup is probably about 35%. It's up 41, so the fastball goes down. But when he's had to make good pitches with his fastball, to me, the only mistake, there's been one swing. Nelson Cruz hit the home run. Looked like it was a changeup, screamed it down the left field line. And that's how the Orioles, at least they win the first 4 innings, 1-0.
So the Jeep inside the numbers. And here's Hardy, who is one of the strikeouts of the night. Hernandez has 7 already. Breaking ball for a strike.
Yeah, and JJ went to visit, his rear end went to visit the dugout.
Well, the thing about Hernandez, and this is something that it's just mind-boggling, is how good he is. I always look at, well, how many guys get on base against him? Because if you can't get on, you can't score. He averages, Jim, 8.27 base runners per 9 innings. That's remarkable.
Well, he doesn't walk people. He throws ground balls. He can strike you out. He can get you out pretty much 4 different ways with all 4 quality pitches, plus pitches. So that's 3 pitches, all breaking balls. First one, you step in the bucket, and then that was about as good as you can throw. And you can't say, if you could, Felix, go up there and hand it to the catcher. There's a changeup. So we've seen 4 different pitches, and you know, if you're hitting off him, that you've already, if you're Jada, you struck out, and you've already seen him bury a 93-mile-per-hour fastball low and away to strike out Adam Jones last inning. So many different ways. And he pitches quickly, does so many different things right. There you go. Just, all you can say is, wow. 2-2. Is it going to be a fastball, or is it going to be about as good a curveball as you can throw? That's what it was.
4 of the 8 strikeouts have been called strike threes.
He's only 28.
121 big league wins. And it's taken outside. Flaherty bounced out the first base to end the second. Ryan's got a 2-game hitting streak going. He is 2 for 15 on the trip, now 2 for 16 on the trip. There's a strike. Coming off a no decision last Saturday against the Angels, in which he allowed 1 unearned run in 7 innings and lost it.
Yeah, he hooked up with Garrett Richard.
Knocks it down, and he'll flip it to first to get Flaherty. So he takes a base hit away from Flaherty, and 2 men down. Now, of course, Felix Hernandez is from Venezuela, Jim, and he is fast moving up this list. All-time record in most wins by Venezuelan pitchers. Freddie Garcia, 156. Johan Santana, who almost pitched for the Orioles, 139. Carlos Zambrano, 132, and then King Felix at 121. So before too long, he's going to own the most wins by a pitcher born in Venezuela. And as you say, he's only 28. This is his 291st Major League start. He has never pitched a game in relief since coming up with the Mariners. Now, since the Cruz home run, he's retired 12 out of 13, 7 by strikeout. The only one to reach in that span, Caleb Joseph, who's at the plate with a double.
Yeah, what I see, and Caleb hit the double on a changeup, so he got it up a little bit, got it in a little bit, and Caleb hit it over the left fielder's head, so he comes right back with the same pitch, because what he knows is changeup can get him out, it just can't throw it in the same place.
Caleb doesn't chase.
It'd been a good pitch to swing it. It went right by Zunino. He could have run down to first. But then again, he probably would have caught it.
He's retired 8 in a row since that Joseph double.
Another changeup.
Now he's got 2 versions of that.
Yep.
He throws an upper 80s changeup, which is mind-boggling.
Well, yeah, the average changeup is actually 90. I was looking through one of the sites where they kind of tell you, not only what you pitch, what the velocity is, what the mixture is, what the percentage of strikes are. So his average fastball is 93, and you got a changeup at 90. And there it is. And it just dives. So it's a strikeout pitch. It's a ground ball pitch. Keeps the ball in the ballpark, and he's able to control it.
Well, he's only lost twice on the year. He lost April 21st and then went almost 2 months before losing again on June 13th. And there's another ground ball right to Brad Miller, the shortstop. And a 3-up, 3-down inning, 9 in a row retired by Hernandez. Mid-5th in Seattle, the O's have the lead.
trying to get back on track. Big out in the first inning as he strikes out Seager, and then in the second, after Jones had singled and got thrown out in the top of the first, Cruz, 29th home run of the year, a missile into the left field seat. And again, more trouble. Cano up, hitting .350 with runners in scoring position, little ground ball, and then the last inning, striking out Logan Morrison to get out of another jam. And those are our Geico game highlights. As you look at Gausman and Fernandez, pitching duel. Fernandez pitching very well, only the home run, 15 minutes, could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Having Gausman out there to pitch the fifth.
The Maryland flag here. Love it. Let's see, where are they sitting? It's a big ballpark. Oh, there it is. Out there in right center field. So they get the first row seats. They plan ahead. They bring the flag. Mike Zunino, who did face Kevin Gausman in college from the SEC. Zunino at Florida and Kevin at LSU. And Zunino owned Gausman as a Gator. He was 3 for 6 against him.
Really? That's why he threw him a slider, his second breaking ball of the night, excluding the changeups, and he's had a good one.
He's allowed 3 hits and he's walked 1.
One ball's been hit hard tonight, and it's a double by Seager. Ball was up and out over the plate, hit it to left center field. 2 hits in the first, infield hit by Chavez, a jam shot by Cano. Well, that's what Zunino does. He hits 58 hits, 30 of them extra bases, 15 doubles, a triple, 14 home runs. Met him down at the cage today for the first time, and seems like a very personable young guy. And what they like about him, he does have power, learning to hit at the major league level, but he's doing a very nice job catching behind the plate. We do have the second best pitching in the American League. Oakland just moved a couple of percentage points ahead of him. So he ought to get a good pitch to hit here. He ought to be able to look fastball and probably get it.
Got ahead 0-1, now 3-1. Lifted to right for Markakis. And 1 away. So Zunino's down for the first out. When the Orioles take on the Mariners next Friday, that's August 1st at 7:05, first 20,000 fans 15 and over receive the Orioles 60th anniversary 3/4 sleeve t-shirt. You can celebrate the 60th anniversary season of your Birds as the Orioles get that playoff postseason push heating up. For your tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. It's really nice to see so many Orioles fans at these road games. We're talking about that group of kids that were leaning on the Orioles dugout, and Delman Young came out to begin the stretch, and the kid who looked like he was about maybe 5 years old said, Delman, how you doing? He looked up, he said, hi, how are you? And he grabbed the baseball and flipped it in the stands to the fan. That's a lasting memory.
Yeah, just not getting the close pitches. Pitch right around the knees. Boy, a big difference between 1-1 and 2-0. So behind Zunino and now behind Brad Miller. It's not the way you want to pitch. Pitch count now at 70. And then he comes back and makes a real good pitch in a hitter's count. Yeah, the difference we told you about Felix Hernandez, 14.3 pitches per innings. And Kevin Gausman, 18.1. So over the course of 4, 5, 6 innings, that's a lot of pitches. Inning and a half.
Yeah, he's really not getting any close pitches.
Well, it appears to me that Brian Knight is a hitter's umpire in the sense that he's not giving you a lot of pitches, and that doesn't mean he's good or bad. He's very consistent. It looks like he favors the hitters a little bit.
Buck has a phrase for umpires in that regard. He says there are some that they're out there hunting strikes, and there are others that are out there hunting balls. And I guess the umpires that hunt balls are the hitters' umpires.
Yes.
But they, believe me, they keep track. They know. And the 3-2 is too tight, ball 4. So he's walked the number 9 hitter who's batting .205 twice.
Well, he does have a little bit of pop, but that's certainly not what you want to do. And Brad Miller is a home run guy. Or maybe a little bit too careful. Andy Van Slyke, first base coach. Boy, was he a good player.
His son's on the Dodgers now, right?
Big guy. Because Andy was a left-handed hitter. I think he won 5 Gold Gloves. Played on a lot of those good Cardinal teams. Still lives in St. Louis.
And Chavez takes a strike, not expecting the breaking ball.
Yeah. Well, that's what you like to do, and we've seen Chris Tillman do it, where maybe we'll try to establish a little bit earlier than Kevin Gausman, but you have to understand that Kevin is learning how to pitch here. And this is his first year as a starter, full-time starter.
And in the hole, nearly hit the base runner Brad Miller, who's going to try to go to third. Markakis fires through and not in time.
Yeah, and Andy Chavez does exact.
Oh, they're calling him out. They say it hit him.
Oh.
Fielding Colbert. I saw him point. I thought it meant that he was okay, that everything was good.
Boy, what a break for the Orioles. Andy Chavez did exactly what a veteran hitter tries to do. Get a young pitcher, you know he's throwing a lot of fastballs. Try to pull the ball into right field. So this slows him down, and
right on the toe. Oh, they're going to get Scopey put out, not Davis.
It really doesn't matter. It's an out. Yeah. Yeah, trying to get out of the way. I figure there's no possible way that he's going to get to third base, but he just keeps going. And what a break in a 1-0 game, even though it's only the 5th inning.
Yeah, and the angle there from the high first camera, you could see the ball change direction there. So Fielding Culbreth, who's the crew chief here, right on top of it. And here's James Jones. Chavez goes, throw to second by Caleb on the wrong side of the bag, and he steals it.
Yeah, that's the last couple of throws from Caleb have been a little bit off the mark. So you have to hurry, and you can see that. And he just pulls it a little bit. Strong throw, but just the wrong side of the bag. And this is number 4 out of 5. So again, Scope no chance because he has to reach all the way back. But watch him sustain the tag. This is what the challenge does. Keep it on him. Keep him on it. And if again, he's saying he still had the tag on him and he came off the bag. And he's pointing at it. That's the big difference with the challenge rules. You can be safe, but if you sustain the tag, you can go and challenge, and we've seen a number of players. It used to be you just put the glove down and you either save or out because there is no challenge. Now it's a little more complicated.
Meantime, 2-0 on James Jones, who was flied out twice to left.
Well, he ought to get a strike to hit. I mean, this is kind of a comforting spot to hit with Cano on deck.
Line drive, base hit left field. Pearson on it, being sent to Chavez. Here's the throw home. He is out at the plate and out by plenty. So the ball hit so hard to Pierce, who charged it, and a perfect throw to the plate. And the Orioles defense coming through again. Pierce fires to Joseph. Chavez cut down to end the inning. Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to support Be More for Healthy Babies. The Orioles have drawn 244 walks, so that's a total of $12,200. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and a more active lifestyle. Steve Pearce, what a perfect throw, and he got him by so much. You wonder what Rich Donnelly, the third base coach, was looking at. That ball was blistered to left.
Well, it's almost like he forgot who was on deck, and that was Robbins and Cano. So it gives you another illustration of what Pearce does for this club. He strikes out twice, so maybe be thinking about your hitting, but he comes in, makes a perfect throw, and I mean he's what 10 feet up the baseline when Caleb Joseph tags him. It was a bullet to left field, and because Jones doesn't have a lot of power, they play him shallow, and kind of ill-advised to send him on that. Certainly emotionally, but and then on the other hand, you realize how difficult it is to coach third. It's not like you can, when you're doing a commercial, flow up the lines and say take two.
Chopper towards third. Seager charges. Off balance throw, got him. So Stoke is retired and one away. On Saturday, August 2nd, bring the family out to Oriole Park. It's a promotion that you won't want to miss. The first 10,000 fans 14 and under at the game that night against Seattle will receive the Crush Davis action figure presented by PNC. It's a superhero-style figure of Chris, and it's sure to become a fan favorite. So come on out and get the Crush Davis action figure. For your tickets, Orioles.com, or call 888-848-BIRD. 10 in a row retired by Hernandez. Capers takes a strike. Nicholas grounded out twice.
Well, Felix knows his charge. His charge is not to give up any more runs, and hope that they can get him one or two. And one, he'll get a no decision. And
Markakis, right field. He got a lot of it. Back is Chavez. Back it goes. And off the wall and in play. Endy with a leap. He just couldn't get it. Oh, how did that stay in the ballpark? There's a one-out double for Markakis.
Yeah, Nick, with only one home run on the road.
Oh, that's how it didn't go over.
Yeah,
it hit the glove.
Yeah, Endy Chavez doing everything to try to keep them either to get on the board or keep the Orioles off the board. Well, that ball looked like it was out. That give an idea of how big the ballpark is.
If he pulls that even 4 feet to the right, it probably goes. It's right at the indent where the ballpark begins to get to the deepest point heading towards center field. That 380 right there, you see the indent there.
Yeah, and they actually brought the fence in a little bit, just a smidgen. But I think what they did is that right where it hits the 380, they brought it in as it goes out to center field. I think that point pretty much remained the same because that's where the stands are.
Orioles are 0 for 3 runners in scoring position. Nice block by Zunino.
He just backhanded. Well, at least a couple of shots.
Felix Hernandez has not allowed 2 home runs in a game all year. He's only allowed 6, including the Cruz tonight. It's been 1 in 6 separate starts. Nick almost hit it out.
Yeah, 191 in runners in scoring position numbers, which in the league average is around 252, 3, somewhere in that range. Gives you an idea how good he's been. He's no Bud Norris. He's 60. Well, that was amazing.
Oh, who is? Bud with Nick Hundley
on the left, right on the our left, and Nick Hundley will probably catch him tomorrow. Day game.
Day game after a night game. So that's a good idea that they're hanging out together. One and 2 on Pearce. And a good take. Zunino is earning his money tonight. He's got to be up to at least a dozen pitches that he's had the block already.
Well, that's what Felix does. Again, it's a splitter going down or a split changeup, the hard slider. In fact, he preferably would like to pitch with his fastball, the sinker down in the zone. And you got to trust your catcher. And good catchers tell you. Eric Dempsey said, hey, bounce it. I'll block it. There's another one.
Ball 3.
Another changeup.
He got him the chase, would look like a slider for the swinging strike 2, but these last 2 he's recognized that they were going to be balls out of the hand, and he laid off.
Well, that's one of the keys, the ball out of the hand, and that's, of course, that's so hard to do off Felix because you just don't have any idea what he's going to throw. And they have movement, and again, he's one of these guys. He's a big kid, and he does. You'll probably see the back of his numbers. He's got a nice little shoulder turn.
And the 3-2, and he got it.
Yeah, that's that changeup. Just enough movement. Acts like a split-fingered fastball. And Steve Pearce, he thinks he's got it tracked. And he just swings through it. The change of speed. I mean, you can see him get ready to hit and can't quite time it. But join the rest of the league. So 3 up, 3 times down on strikes. Well, the West Coast had strikeouts. No big mystery what it started on that Saturday night. The Orioles struck out 15 times. Actually, well, I'll take that back. That was it actually in Anaheim. The game that Shoemaker started. He ended up striking out 15 times, but win.
How did I miss that?
Why is David Lowe out there?
Rounded to third. There's Seager. And he gets it across. So runner left stranded at second base. Orioles have left just 2 on the night. Mid-6. Great game by the Puget Sound. Yes, he is the donut champion in MLB. Nelson Cruz is the laser beam champion. He hits it out right over the fence. Gausman pitching a fine game. He is not allowed to run. Of course, a base runner gunned down at the plate. And he is matching Felix Hernandez.
Yeah, there you go. And, of course, that's 1 inning less. Felix has gone through 6. So the pitch count pretty much actually maybe a little bit lower than, 18.1 coming in. Tonight, 16. He really made a lot of big pitches. A couple of walks. And, again, I think what he's done is he stayed within himself. And there's a tendency when you're young, I go through it, you pitch, against, whether I pitched against Whitey Ford or some of the really great pitching staffs, you go up and pitch against Dion, and it's a little bit different than the major league level. You're just going out there and stay within yourself, make your pitches, don't have any big innings. And I think there's a tendency when you pitch against somebody like Felix Hernandez, you've got to be perfect, and you get away from just being you, as you were talking about. And he's been him tonight. I mean, he's really made a lot of great pitches in some very tough situations. And it certainly doesn't get any easier here with Cano leading off the 6th inning.
Ball one outside. Cano is 1 out of 2. And a soft single, a bloop to shallow left.
Yeah, he came out and hit it early today and hitting his regular group, but he was out with Howard Johnson, hitting instructor, and Lloyd McClendon.
Right field. Markakis back on it. Near the wall. Makes the running catch. Oh, he dropped it. It's out of his glove. And Cano had stopped running. Will get to third. Nick got to it. Looked like he had it, and it came out of his glove.
Yeah, he's not playing for a hanging changeup, so he's in right center field. And even though, I mean, he goes a long, long way. And then he just overruns it a little bit. Had to go such a long way. Frustrated. And then he'll run it down and they'll lead off triple in a 1-0 game. Yeah, Cano gets something to pull, just a change up in the zone. So if you're Kevin Gausman, the run at third is only the tying run. And when you're on the road, that's what you need to concern yourself with.
Here's Morales. Right field. Markakis. Cano will tag. Here comes Cano. Here comes the throw to the plate. He is safe at the plate in a bang play.
Why does Markakis make a nice flow? Timed it perfectly. Morales gets the run in. So again, in his first game back. Now look at this, just a little high. And watch Cano reach the outside corner right before Caleb Joseph can swipe him with a tag. So a little lower, maybe you get him. You just see him actually put the palm down on the back of the plate. Tie it up.
So 1-1 game. And here is Seager. Markakis appeared to be very upset at himself for not catching that ball that he got to. But then came back on the very next pitch and made a fine play, nearly gunned him down at the plate.
And again, just off the inside corner.
It's funny how we were talking last night about Wei-Yin Chen and how he's the pitcher that gets a lot of support. Orioles don't get very many runs for Gausman, 3.6. And tonight he's faced up against the best pitcher in the game, in the American League anyway. Good breaking ball there, 2-1.
So you don't expect it, kid. I mean, a lot of times, I used to think sometimes some of the best games that you would pitch because you wouldn't get run support, you'd lose, or you'd get a no decision, which is fine as long as the team wins, as long as you pitch late into the game. And it's just part of the process of being a major league pitcher. And
right to Davis at first for the second out.
So a lot of pitches up in this inning, and the Orioles will take note of that.
Well, as promised earlier in the game, here's our AT&T's fan photo. And how cute is that baby? That is awesome.
Is that a floppy hat?
Yeah. Made for her size. That's beautiful. Monthly fouls it back. Of course, the last inning, you had the ball put in play that hit the base runner Miller for an out, and then you had a runner thrown out at the plate.
Oh, no, he's been getting balls up. And this type of game, boy, every pitch is magnified. So what the pitch count is 89 now, I think. Maybe 89. It seems like more like 100. There's a good one.
Scopel backhand and fire, and got it there just in time to get the hustling Ackley. Well, we'll go to the seventh. Here are our Honda do-ups for the O's: Nelson Cruz, Chris Davis, and J.J. Hardy. Tomorrow, more O's action. Game 3 of the 4-game series. It'll be Bud Norris for the Orioles. He'll be on the mound against Chris Young of Seattle. Our coverage on MASN 2 begins at 3:30 with O's Extra presented by Dodge. And then game coverage at 4 o'clock on MASN 2 and WJZ. We've got all the access you need right here on MASN.
Yeah, two right-handers. Chris Young, about 6'10", the master of really changing speeds. He's kind of a taller version of Jared Weaver. And then Bud Norris really pitched one of his better games. Somebody said old school. Low and away fastballs. Chris Young, I don't know, he'll probably top out at 86, but a lot of deception. And because of his height, throws at a little different angle than most guys are used to see. So 1-1 ball game, top of the 7th.
Orioles have left only 2 men on. 1 runner thrown out on the bases as Jones was caught trying to steal to end the first. Hernandez has 3 up, 3 down innings in his 6 innings of work. Cruz towards third. Big bounce there for Seager. So Cruz in his last 3 at-bats has swung at the first pitch at all 3. Homered, flied out, grounded out.
Well, the quality of your pitch a lot of times dictates what you can do with it. So, he thought that changeup was going to stay up, which it didn't. It had a lot of late life to it, and thought it was hittable. And that's Felix. While he can strike you out, it's almost like he doesn't try to strike you out. If you get to 2 strikes, you got a good chance. But early on, he's very content having you ground out to his infielders. And the interesting thing to me is that most guys, especially if they're power pitchers, they try to go in on Chris Davis. He is pitching him away. A lot of fastballs away, a lot of slow stuff. They have yet to really come in. So there's the breaking ball. So it's not like they're trying to run him off the plate like a lot of pitchers will do.
Well, that 6th inning, what a turnaround. The Markakis ball that looked like it was heading out. Chavez was able to deflect and keep it in the ballpark, and then the triple just out of the reach of Markakis, and Cano scores the tying run. There's a chopper hit slowly. Davis is hustling, and getting at the first for the out is Seager, the third baseman, 2 men down. Well, here are East wins. The Yankees beat the Blue Jays tonight 6-4. Ichiro Suzuki hit a 3-run home run, and Chase Headley 3 for 4 with a double and a couple of runs. Yankees have now won 4 in a row in 8 of 10. And the Rays defeated the Red Sox 6-4. David Price 8 innings, 3 runs, 8 hits, did not walk about, struck out 10. And Lester 6 innings, 2 runs on 6 hits, 1 walk, struck out 7. The Rays have now won 8 straight games. And Tampa Bay, according to Keith Law on Twitter, did something unusual today. They have fired all of their California area scouts. That's strange.
Well, we'll find out why. It really doesn't matter. They're gone.
Yeah.
Certainly hasn't affected. So what are they, 26-11? Yeah, this is amazing right here. If you go back and you start looking and you score, you had a base hit for the Orioles in the first, but it was a grounder. You had the home run, so that's 1 ball out of the infield. Had a double by Joseph, 2. Had a fly out by Cruz in the 4th, 3. And a double by Nick Markakis. The rest of the time, everybody's either hitting a ground ball or striking out. So now you see why, trying to make it, and we're almost there, 13 straight games with 2 runs or less. And that will tie Tom Seaver.
Yep.
It's very hard to generate runs when you're hitting grounders.
There's a chopper slowly hit. Miller charges, bobbles the ball, throws, won't get him. The bobble on the transfer cost him.
Well, if you catch it, he's out, and if you don't,
it's an infield hit for Hardy.
So now I don't know why this isn't. I want JJ to get as many hits, but that's a pretty routine play. You come in, you catch it, you just transfer, but he didn't. But it does keep the inning alive. It does get Flaherty to the plate. Whether it's a base hit or an error, JJ's happy. But it does give you a chance to maybe pull ahead. And the kind of ballpark, when you hit a ball up the gap here, even though JJ's not exceptional speed, what would you say, maybe average to just a tick below, he's going to score. Because of the spaciousness of Safeco Field. course, now getting the extra base hit, that seems to be the problem. Not just for Ryan Flaherty, but for anybody.
Well, the two doubles by the Orioles in this game, Joseph in the third and Markakis in the sixth, both appeared to be hit well enough to carry out. So the Markakis one would have gone out if not for Chavez. Oh, 0-2 on Flaherty, who has grounded out twice. He's had 100 pitches. Yeah, averages just about 104.
Yeah, we're told you how efficient he can be. And he can get into the late innings and really not throw that many pitches. There's a good take. Because that changeup very much like the one that he took before. Yeah, that was the Angel game all the way back on the 28th of May, game where he gave up 1 run, went 8 2/3 innings. So the Orioles have made him at least work a little bit tonight.
And he got him on the breaking ball. There's number 10. 2-out hit, a man left. 7th inning stretch in Seattle in a 1-1 game. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Those fans in Seattle, there's a Brooksy fan, number 5.
Well, who isn't?
He's checking his fan photo that he sent in. Mr. Gausman is trying to get through the 7th inning, keep this a tie game.
Well, when you pitch at home, Felix Hernandez certainly set the kind of the tempo for this game. Brian Mattis with all the lefties, as you pointed out, between innings, Jim. You kind of know that. Everybody on the bench a right-handed hitter now?
Yep. Lloyd McClendon playing the trends. The better batting average, or more power rather. The righties actually hit Mattis better. It's Brandon Maurer.
Yeah, we saw him as a starter last year. He's let the hair grow, got the beard, and now he's in the bullpen throwing 96-7. Being very effective. Best bullpen in baseball.
Morrison is 0 for 2. And he left the.
Yeah, he got some pitches to hit, but they were just away enough and eventually struck out up and in.
Slicing fly ball for Pierce. Long run still coming. And he's there for the out. So 2-pitch out and 1 away here in the 7th inning. You can follow every Orioles game all season long with the MLB.com at bat. on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. At Bat brings you baseball wherever you are with live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, highlights. You get audio, the free MLB.TV game of the day, pitch tracking, and more. Download the MLB.com at Bat at the App Store or visit Orioles.com today. Here's Zunino, who's 0 for 2.
That was the 93rd pitch. Season high, 111. That was against Tampa Bay. That was in 6 innings. So Brian Gausman said, I need to be more efficient. He has tonight.
Chop towards the hole, and it bounces through for a base hit. Right between Flaherty and Hardy.
Yeah, he's strong enough. He just top spins it. Puts it right in the left field. You can see again, strong young man. A lot of uppercut in that swing.
There's Brad Miller, who has walked twice, the number 9 batter.
Well, you know what he wants to do. He wants to hit a ball into right field and see where the glove is. Zunino does not run a lot. James Jones with 20 steals, and then Cano's 7 out of 9 this year. 55 steals, make it 56 with Chavez's on the season. Just can't throw strike one to Brad Miller.
It's amazing.
Well, they sat away and then they came in, and or at least inside middle, and you know what he's trying to do, just get a ball that he can jerk into right field.
We would love a double play ball here, trying to keep Zunino close.
Looks like Brad Miller has pretty good speed. The reason I say that is even though on the Chavez single into right field to hit him, still easily got to third base.
Got it by him, 1-1. Well, if you base 15 pitches per inning as what you'd like to strive for, he is within that reach here. That would put him at 105 through the 7th. As we just saw, he's not yet at 100.
Yeah, well, that's when you start doing the math. It tells you if they're only going to let you throw 105, 110, it's hard to pitch more than, even if you are efficient, it's hard to get more than 7 innings.
2-1 the count. Buck checking on the status of Mattis out there. And a strike on the corner. So we got a close call there.
Yeah, looked like
Miller saying you called that a strike?
Yeah,
because he hasn't been.
Plenty of the plate, but we haven't seen a lot of low pitches that have been called for strikes.
2-2, the go-ahead run at first and 1 down. Well, you mentioned the big crowd here, and you wonder how much of an effect Felix Hernandez has with fans who walk up knowing that he's pitching and you get a chance to see him pitch.
Well, that and the fact that, yeah, how well he's pitching, and then just the weather.
Beautiful.
Yeah, with a beautiful day. Yesterday, somewhat overcast, and looked like it cleared up as they took the roof off. Will they run? Don't think so. And he walked him again.
That is just amazing. He has walked 3 batters on the night. All 3 times it's Brad Miller, the number 9 batter. So now the go-ahead run in the scoring position with 1 down. Davis is going to play behind the runner at first. And with the lefty up, he protects some of the hole over there. Chavez is 2 for 2 plus a sacrifice. Good off speed pitch. Seattle 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And the one run didn't get the runner in because Chavez was thrown out at the plate.
Well, the great luxury they have when Felix pitches that you don't have to get a lot of runs and you don't have to get a lot of hits. And if you get one here, or even if he gets Chavez out and Jones comes up with their bullpen, good chance to
throw behind Zunino, who scampers back.
Yeah, you're just trying to get a good jump. That's not a sacrifice with one out. I mean, all he's trying to do is maybe bunt for a base hit, or with no strikes, is bring the infield even in closer. And then if you're Mike Zunino, you're trying to get that extra step, that secondary lead, and used to do it when you'd be at second base before the DH and trying to get that extra step. It's easy to get picked off.
Ball and a strike on Chavez. 2 on and 1 out in this tie game. It's a fastball by him. 1-2.
I tell you, Brad Miller is getting a huge lead at first, and I don't mean, but if you ever have the play where Davis sneaks behind him, I mean, it's a very risky play. Young pitcher, something you practice in spring training. Because Andy Van Slyke is kind of keep his eye on Chris, the first base coach, and also, but we have seen on this road trip some excellent pickoff plays by the Orioles.
1-2 on Chavez. And foul back on the screen.
No, 97. A little extra here in the 7th inning. The thing about Kevin Gausman, you never really can see his emotions on his sleeves. Looks like he's not easily rattled.
Time requested at the plate by Caleb Joseph. Maybe he felt better about the pitch he called than the pitch that Gausman said okay to. We'll do it again.
Well, in that interview that you did with him, it's all about what pitch does really Kevin Gausman want to throw here, because he has to be able to certainly throw it with conviction.
And he got him with high heat. Chavez down on strikes and 2 away.
Yeah, he got the infield hit, and then the base hit that ended up hitting Brad Miller was something down. So now they just kind of come right up the middle. And I assume he's going to take him out.
Yep, he already signaled.
Yeah, so, and the reason he's doing this is because they're not going to pinch hit for James Jones. So again, a very, very good performance by Kevin Gausman. Now it's up to the pen. pretty tall order to try to match up with Felix Hernandez. A lot of quality pitches. As it turns out, right there, getting himself at least the second out here. A couple of guys on in the seventh, though he can't win. The runners on base are his responsibility. 103 pitches. And your Jiffy Lube pitching change. This pitching change should be quick, just like a Jiffy Lube signature service oil change. At Jiffy Lube, they get you in and out fast, and you never, ever need an appointment. Ryan Mattis, inning the third on this road trip, did come in. Nicole Calhoun in the bases loaded in relief of Tommy Hunter, and ended up walking in the winning run.
Well, here's a pinch hitter, Stephan Romero. So the right-hander does come up with 2 on and 2 down. And the breaking ball, check swing, and it's ball 1. Romero has never faced Mattis.
And Romero doesn't hit lefties as well as Jones. But obviously Lloyd McClendon, young player. Little slider right there. Cannot give in to him. Just make your pitches. Got a base open. One of the better hitters in baseball on deck. But that's this type of game. Of course, Cano has pretty good numbers against Brian Mattis, so you hope you don't get to that point. 9 for 29 with a couple of home runs. There's a good pitch, yeah.
Davis will run out of room.
Net down and in, 91, 92. And Romero, some good power numbers in the minor leagues last year as he came up. And there's that strike, and with the luxury of this count, young hitter, a pitcher with some experience, don't have to throw a strike. Try not to. Just make it enticing enough to get him to chase. Hard slider at his back foot.
High fly ball to left. Pierce is back on it. He'll have a play, and he makes the catch. So a long fly ball out ends it, and Seattle leaves 2 more. What a game at Safeco Field. We'll head to the 8th, tied at 1.
Best in the league. Boy, he had it going tonight. Only the 1 run, and that was the Cruz solo home run. Pierce goes down 3 times. Adam Jones a couple of times. Outside corner, Chris Davis. Hardy. Again, just a multitude of quality pitches. There is the line. Gives up the 1 run, the home run. Strikes out 10. Again, very efficient, and ties Tom Seaver's record. 13 straight. Yeah, starts of 7 innings or more with 2 runs. Now, Brandon Moore comes in. He started the year as a starter and wasn't very good And you go all the way back to what, April 20th to May 29th. He was a starter. He was 1-4, almost giving up a little bit over 7.5 runs a game. Went down to Tacoma, had a couple of starts. They brought him back, and he has yet to give up a run in 14 innings out of the bullpen.
Andy Chavez moves from right to center with Jones out of the game, and there's Stephan Romero, who pinch hit for Jones. He's in the game in right. And a fastball taken by Caleb Joseph for a strike.
So this would not be the and we saw Mara as a starter last year. He actually pitched pretty well, but just seemed to not be able to repeat his windup. So now he can be a power pitcher. Pretty much just think about how do I get through this lineup one time. And again, everybody else in that bullpen, lowest earned run average of any bullpen in the American League.
2.38. It's amazing.
It went down a point. And he makes the ball look real small. 94, 96.
But regardless of that, he's not King Felix.
No.
So if you're the Orioles, you're thrilled in this tie game to be seeing somebody else. And it's 3-1 on Caleb Joseph in this tie game.
Yeah, Mora was in 22 games last year, 14 starts.
Scope is on deck.
And again, 3-8 as a starter last year.
Well, he didn't mean to swing and he fouled it off. That might have been ball 4.
Yeah, well, you don't have a whole lot of time when the guy's throwing 96 and the ball down and away out of Newport Beach, California, 6'5", and he's a big guy, 220-ish. There's another one. Not much you can do with 96 on the outside corner, except hit it right down there.
And protect and hope for another. Nelson Cruz with a home run in the second inning, the only run for the O's.
Yeah, you got to hit off the fastball when somebody throws 96 anyway, and you hope if he does throw a breaking ball, which he hasn't, that's 97, that maybe he'll hang it. And, you just kind of react to it. Or even better news, he'll walk it.
Scope on deck, and then Markakis.
There it is. I mean, that's 4, 96 to 97, right on the outside corner. And Zunino's just going to put the glove, put down 1 for the fastball, and sit outside middle.
Caleb about to see the 9th pitch of this at bat.
And they're going to come in.
Jammed up the loop. For a long time. Here comes the left fielder Acme for the out.
Well, pretty good fastball command, and away, and then put the glove up and in, and he got it right there.
34,782 the attendance tonight.
Big crowd.
And here's Jonathan, who is 0 for 2. Could not get down a sacrifice bunt in the 3rd. And struck out and grounded out in the 6th. And that really was a missed opportunity for the Orioles in the 3rd after the Caleb Joseph leadoff double. Scope not being able to get him the 3rd. Markakis then grounded out. Had they played the infield back, that's a run.
Well, they wouldn't have, but I mean, you just have to get him. There was no possible way that Jonathan, the way he went around bunting, could have gotten him over. The technique was horrible.
Popped up this way. Highest OPS versus bullpens, and the Orioles in the top 5 in Major League Baseball at 675. So,
yeah, well, the Orioles have done a nice job, and they always talk about modern day. It's harder to score late in the ball game, but the Orioles have done a lot of that. Wow.
Short hop by the shortstop Miller. He'll get scoped for the second out.
Yeah, I mean, Mara hadn't even thrown a breaking ball. He can just come in and go Powder River, where when he was starting, you're probably saying, well, you got 3 pitches. You got to figure out when you're going to throw them. A little simpler equation here. But again, exquisite control. Zunino goes in, he throws the ball in. He goes away, he throws it away. And all started out, at 94, and he's gotten all the way to 97.
Markakis is 1 out of 3. He doubled his last at bat, nearly hit it out. Andy Chavez went into a leap, didn't catch it, but he kept it in the ballpark.
Yeah, there's a changeup. Finally, something a little bit different. Yeah, you thought it was going out, and it would have if it hadn't hit his glove. Really made a nice play out in right center, deep right center. There's another off-speed pitch.
Right out there by that 380 spot.
Right where the fence goes out.
Right field, that ball is caught by Romero. Hung up there for him long enough. So 3 up, 3 down go the O's in the 8th. Bottom of the 8th coming up in a 1-1 game. A little nervous.
Well, Cano's coming up.
She doesn't.
Hey, tie ball game, 8th inning. Brian Mattis. They leave him in to match up against Cano, who's 9 for 29 with a couple of home runs. In fact, when Brian first came up, I believe one of the first extra base hits he threw in his career, and it was all the way into maybe late May, with a double by Robinson Cano at Camden Yards. And here he is. Jeez, imagine that. He said he loves it up here. I mean, obviously,
Mattis or Cano?
Well, both of them, but Cano, he got the $240 million. Yeah,
that's a nice deal.
But he was talking today, and he was part of doing a lot of winning teams in New York, World Championship in 2009. There's a slider just away, or that would have been home run number 3. And there is the closer in case they upgraded their bullpen. The ERA is about 2.5 runs lower, even though it's not a complete year, than it was last year. But then again, it's a lot better ball club. They were 20 games under 500, 71 and 91.
It's a head-on too, foul tip. Well, 9 seasons for Cano in New York, so he comes to Seattle at the age of 31. He had a couple of 200-hit seasons there. He had 3 100 RBI seasons. A couple of Gold Gloves.
Almost won a batting title early on.
Yeah.
It's like he hits with a magic wand. I mean, that sometimes, yeah. Because he can hit breaking balls and usually doesn't strike out. Uses the whole field. I saw him hit the changeup for the triple. Pretty good pitch inside middle.
Nobody behind Mattis in the pen, so Buck Showalter will stick with him in this tie game.
And Morales on deck will turn around. He's a switch hitter. But other than that, a lot of lefties.
ability to prolong an at-bat.
Well played coverage. The better hitters, they have an idea where the bat head is. You know, like if you talk to guys that play on the PGA Tour, they always kind of know where the good players, they know where the club face is. They know, you know, sometimes it can just be a technical perfect swing, or it's just have a feel of knowing where it is.
He came inside with a fastball there just to get him to think about it.
Well, it was actually a perfect pitch in a sense that most hitters chase it. But then again, this is Robinson Cano.
When he signed with Seattle and they had the introductory press conference, the number 22 you see he's wearing, they handed him that uniform. He wore number 24 with the Yankees, but could not wear that here.
Oh, Ken Griffey Jr.
Mr. Griffey, who was here today.
Was he really?
Yeah,
Junior was here?
Right after you came upstairs, he was down by the batting cage talking to a lot of the Orioles. He might still be here. 1-2 on Cano, leading off in the 8th in this tie game.
Ooh. Yeah, that kind of missed. Yeah, I was looking on the press guide. Special consultant to the franchise. Now
wow.
That's when you really are. Not only is it you're a special consultant, you're special. Because he meant a lot to this franchise.
And not even the organization, the franchise.
Right there.
He was the franchise. And he got him, a foul tip held by Caleb.
Well, you know, we don't really often see Brian Mattis throw curveballs. I mean, it wasn't a great one, but it fooled him. The speed fooled him. Sliders and fastballs, and it just kind of hangs there. And it stays up. If you're ever going to hang it high. Sound like Clint Eastwood there, but hangs it out of the strike zone.
That was a great movie.
Hang him high. That's one of those spaghetti westerns, right? They called him, made in Italy. He'd be going up a ladder. By the time they got up to the top of the ladder, it would be sunny when he started and cloudy by the time he got there. One of the great westerns.
Spaghetti western.
Well, that's what they call them. I think they filmed them in Italy. What a term. I know you get all excited when you hear the word. No, you hear the word.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, that's right. We have to make that on Monday, the day off.
We need it tonight. Or tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow.
Well, no, you promised me seafood tomorrow.
No, I said there was a great, one of the great, I think we.
You're holding out for a better offer, I can tell.
No, Asian fusion restaurant in town is the Wild Ginger. You would get halibut or salmon.
I like halibut.
Yeah. You don't like salmon? Too healthy?
Well,
the food there, food at the Wild Ginger in Seattle it's a delight.
And Morales down on strikes.
Yeah, wow, there we go. A little starter strut. That's what Brian Mattis was early on. Morales chases.
He's faced 3 batters. He's retired all 3. Stranded 2 men on in the 7th. And here's Kyle Seager, who is 1 for 3 against Mattis in their head-to-heads. And he's 1 for 3 in this game with a double. Center field, hit deep. Markakis back, and it's off the wall. And Seager will have the second with a 2-out double.
As I said earlier, when he hit the double, he is a high ball hitter. He's a power hitter. On his way to 3rd consecutive 20. Again, I mean, gets a great pitch to hit, pulls it. One off Gausman, a little bit more velocity, so he went to left center. You got to know where power numbers are and try to, where their areas are, and that's why you look at film, you watch the games. And for him, he reminds me of Greg Nettles. Brad Brock is getting loose for the Orioles. And, Greg Nettles was one of, most left-handers, they like to just drop the bat head. Nettles, the Seagers of the world, they like it up.
Dustin Ackley now with Seager at second base. Inside. Now, if Ackley reaches, Corey Hart is on the bench available, could pinch it for Morrison, which is likely why Brock is up.
Yeah, and then, of course, Lloyd McClendon will think about that, and you want
Mattis against Morrison, or Brock against Corey Hart.
Yeah, with Ackley and Seager, they play so much against both righties, especially Seager, righties and lefties. He doesn't really care, but when you get to your other players, it's a little different.
Strike two.
Yeah, you got to finish your slider, though. A lot of breaking balls up in the zone here. So Chris Taylor, Major League debut, got his first hit last night. Sucre, the catcher. And then you got Hart, who played last night. Romero already in the ball game. Mattis got him out in the last inning.
See, these are 1 and 2.
Yeah, but these counts are, those balls are thigh high. A little lower. Down and away. You couldn't do that to Seager. It's so much easier for hitters to get leverage on balls up. So these count allow you. Caleb Joseph, just put the glove just under the zone. Right there. That's where you're aiming. And that's one. That's another hanger.
Seattle has lost 3 in a row. They're 4-9 in their last 13 games, and this is game 5 of a 7-game homestand, and they're 1 and 3.
Yeah, these are big games for them. Because they consider themselves still in the race. As we mentioned, 28 games over 500 on the road. A good road team. But when you have your ace hold the Orioles to only 1 run, if you're Lloyd McClendon, you're saying, "Oh, we need to win this game." And it's really not that difficult.
They were playing so well, they were holding down that second wild card spot, but now they're behind the Yankees. So from 1 and 2 to 3 and 2.
Well, he hasn't got close to getting the ball at knee high. Look at that. You got a high ball hitter at the plate, and everything's up. And you can't give in. It's the 8th inning. It's a 1-1 ball game. Potential winning run is out on second base. Bury the slider if you're going to throw it. But see, you had 3 pitches where you could have done the same thing. But even in this situation, maybe they'll bring in Brock, but you can't be thinking about it. Your mission is to get Ackley out at the plate.
And he got him. A swinging strikeout ends the inning. So the 2-out double does not hurt Mattis, who strikes out the side, and he strands the go-ahead run at second as Ackley chases a pitch up in the zone. Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by your Baltimore BMW Centers. There's the evening ferry on the Puget Sound. Dave Wallace with Brian Mattis said good job, and it was.
Yeah, got some balls up, but did strike out 3. Got him out of trouble, and the number 1 save guy in the American League comes in, so he will get your blood pressure and pulse up a little bit, because he has been known to walk some people, but doesn't give up a lot of home runs. 1 home run all year. Hard thrower, power changeup. And down in Anaheim, he was the one that came in because they had 16 inning game, 12 inning game, and then on Sunday had a 5-4 lead, and came in the 8th, got out of it, did the bow and arrow thing, and then the next inning walked Trout, Pujols double. I think Hamilton got a single, and then Grant Green won it with a single back up the middle.
And the Angels did the bow and arrow back at him.
Well, when Trout got around and was going back to the dugout, Pujols did the bow and arrow, and Trout returned it. Why you would do that? And of course, his manager said that's not why we lost. We lost because they got some big hits and whatever, but they want to beat you enough without you pulling that stuff. I thought Trout handled it very well. He said, hey, saw him at the All-Star game. He's a very competitive guy, blah, 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 blah. But it's just nonsensical to do those things.
You got Pierce, Jones, and Cruz coming up here. Ball one outside. And the way he was warming up, he bounced about 7 of his warm-up pitches.
Well, if you started looking at guys' mechanics, you'd go, and I think that's why the Angels let him go. And then he went to Tampa Bay, set the all-time ERA, broke Eckersley's record. But he can walk you. He can be wild, but he can walk you and he can strike you out. And again, 1 home run all year. But he's got an arm. Darren O'Day, again, we saw him last night.
Well, Pierce gets at 2-0. There's a changeup for a strike.
And he's got a power changeup.
Pierce is thrilled that Felix Hernandez is in the clubhouse.
Well, unless
0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts.
Unless he gets the 2 strikes. And then he'll be looking at the, what do they call that? The golden sombrero. There's a little bit of it almost looked like a breaking ball.
Rodney with the slanted hat. Well, the Orioles certainly know all about him. Those years in Tampa.
Oh, he's blown 4 saves, 16 out of 20 lifetime. Still a good ERA, 189.
And he got him. 96.
Well, he gets behind him, comes back with a changeup, throws another one, lets him hit it foul, and then goes to 96. And a very unconventional windup. And then this is a little gas.
Might have been a ball, but you have less than that much time to make up your mind.
Well, they say 4/10. I'm not sure. And by unconventional windup, you'll see him. I mean, he will load though. I mean, the one thing about Fernando, he just kind of loads into his back leg. There's the load, and then he goes. So velocity down a little bit from what we see. I mean, when he was with Tampa, he was throwing 98, 99. When he had 100 one night in Baltimore when he was with the Tigers.
Just foul down the line. That would have been a double. Late on the swing, and it almost paid off.
Well, it's hard to read the arm speed on the changeup because he doesn't give it away. And you bring your closer in at home because you want him, arguably your best pitcher in the bullpen, even though Lloyd McClendon, who manages the Mariners, has a lot of options out there. A lot of guys that are having terrific years.
And he has 8 relievers in his bullpen. And Britton joins O'Day, just in case the Orioles get a run. Seattle in the bottom of the ninth has the lower third of the lineup coming up. Morrison, Zunino, and Miller. That one hung. Adam was on it, but out in front. Orioles in their last 22 games on the road have gone 15-7 after beginning 15-15 on the year on the road.
Well, they're a better team. I mean, it's been the year of where they scored more on the road, didn't pitch as well as they do in Camden Yards, pitch better at home, don't score as much. And now they're not scoring as much on this trip, which is understandable because of who they're facing. Winning teams. Oakland right with the Mariners, one of the best 2 pitching teams in the American League. Oakland the best scoring team right with the Angels.
And the Athletics are 3.11. Seattle is 3.12. Jones left field. Back on it is Ackley. Just in front of the warning track has it for the out. Well, Nelson Cruz coming up, and back in the second inning, he had a laser beam line drive out of here. And that is the only run the Orioles have pushed across in this game. For Nelson, it was his 29th home run. And he snapped a 39 at-bat scoreless streak driving in a run. He got 39 consecutive in between RBIs. And the home run was his first since July the 7th.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hittable changeup if you could read it. And by that, I mean if you could distinguish the arm speed with the good changeup. And again, as we mentioned, a very unorthodox windup. You see quick arm, you think 96. And it's 83, and it usually has a lot of depth to it.
Chopper foul down the line.
All girls having a tough ninth inning. Right and left. The young lady on the left line made a very nice play yesterday.
A ball and 2 strikes on Cruz. And bounces in there.
Yeah, Cruz 2 for 11 lifetime. Davis, who's on deck, 1 for 9. Hardy, 1 for 9. Markakis 1 for 15, but a home run. Delman Young sitting on the bench. He's got good numbers. 4 for 14 with a home run.
Sharply hit, but Seager gobbles it up. And Cruz is out, and Rodney has a 3-up, 3-down inning. So the 2 relievers have retired 6 in a row. We'll head to the bottom of the ninth in a 1-1 game. The Orioles can win this game, and they need extra innings to win this game. So, and Daddy's borrowing the binky. So he's nervous. Ryan Mattis stays on to face Morrison.
And yeah, if you're an Oriole fan, you're always nervous when you're playing on the road. 1-1 ball game. Morrison, Logan actually hits lefties better than righties. More power. 1 home run, 281 against lefties. So if you're Lloyd McClendon, if you would have brought in Corey Hart, you probably would have seen Darren O'Day. So the Orioles will say, okay, let's match up with Mattis, the lefty, against another lefty.
And Morrison is 0 for 3. Popped it up. First pitch. Caleb Joseph. And he's got it for the out. So there's 1 out. See what Buck does, and here he comes. So we are going to get Mr. O'Day to face Zunino. Real good job by Brian Mattis. Goes an inning and 2/3. Strands 2 inherited runners. And then he stranded the runner he allowed to get the second in the 8th. Mattis out, O'Day in, tie game, bottom of the 9th. Baseball on Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com.
Well, there he is, Darren O'Day. Marvelous year. He has got the #1 lowest earned run average in the American League, just a little over a run a game. Inning last night, strikeout. Righties, lefties, neither of them have a whole lot of luck. And he'll face Mike Zunino, the power hitting catcher. Durable, throws strikes, deceptive. Orioles are lucky to have him.
Zunino has never faced O'Day. Darren pitched the 9th inning last night in a non-save situation of a 3-up, 3-down inning. Furbush, the left-hander, Danny Farquhar, the right-hander, in the bullpen for Seattle.
I saw Furbush last night pitch well.
Oh, what a slider. Wow.
Yeah, I think he thought maybe the first pitch was a strike, but it wasn't.
Zunino 1 out of 3, singled his last at-bat. All his at-bats against Gausman. And a little further outside. 1-2. If O'Day can get it to the 10th, Davis, Hardy, and Flaherty are due up.
Thought about it.
O'Day has been on some kind of tear.
Yeah, Zunino, a pull hitter. I mean, 39 makes him make it 40 of his hits to left field, 12 up the middle, and only 7 to right.
Popped up foul.
It usually tells you a young hitter learning a hit at this level probably likes it middle in, not all the way in. Easier to pull that pitch. But power. Home run and double. Power for Mike Zunino.
Two and two on Zunino, 1 out, none on. And he got him. Foul tip held by Joseph. So 2 down in the 9th inning.
Yeah, he makes 87 look like 95 because of the arm angle. Comes up, just rides it into the zone. He can sink it, he can cut it. On the top of the webbing. Caleb Joseph's glove.
O'Day has 13 consecutive scoreless appearances going. In those games, 14 2/3 innings, no runs on 9 hits, 17 strikeouts and 3 walks, and now he's added a strikeout and a third of an inning to that streak. So here's Miller. Will he put the ball in play? Kevin Gausman walked 3 batters in his start in 6 2/3, and all 3 times it was Brad Miller, the number 9 batter.
Well, apparently his reputation preceded him. And he got ahead of him 2 of the times. He does have a little bit of home run power.
He was 1 out away from getting this to extras. Big game for both teams. The Yankees beat Toronto, so the Yankees would like to pull within 2 games of the O's. Orioles would like to keep them where they are, 3, plus gain a game on Toronto. Toronto would fall 4 back. Well, Seattle is trying to stay close to the Yankees in that wild card race. Of course, the Angels have the number 1 spot in the wild card. Yankees are now 54 and 48, so they're 6 above 500. And he got him. Well, Darren O'Day comes on and strikes out 2, and we are heading to extras. 3 up, 3 down goes Seattle in the 9th. in extra inning games. You see their batting average tremendous at 377. Run differential plus 11. That is the best in the majors. 5 home runs tied for the most. And a 1.19 ERA, second best in the major leagues in extra innings. And the Orioles, after seeing Seattle tie it in the bottom of the 6th, now looking to win it in the 10th. You make that Jim Palmer era Orioles jersey happy.
Yeah, Charlie Furburst, saw him last night, pitched very well, fastball slider. They take the record, and again, outstanding bullpen, and he's a big part of it. Really not a whole lot of difference. The right-handers have hit the home runs, and the lefties higher average, but in the ballpark. Compared to to Maurer, who we saw throw in 96, 97, even Rodney, slider in the upper 80s, and then the fastball last night at 93. But a big kid, and very effective because he's very deceptive.
And you see the Mariners are getting the shift in place as Seager, the third baseman, goes over to the second base side, keeping Brad Miller, the shortstop, at his position. Chris Davis will lead off. Hardy and Flaherty to follow, or due to follow. Now, Buck Showalter did say that Manny Machado was available tonight. He wanted to give him one more day with a day game tomorrow with the back spasms.
Well, they play, what's unusual is that they play him the pull in the outfield. A lot of teams don't. They play him the pull in the infield, but they play him straight away. So there's a huge gap in left center. And if you go back to this road trip, he had a home run up in Oakland, 3-1 fastball off of Jim Johnson. He doubled up the gap. Not a lot of hits, but again, when he's hitting well, he can go to left center.
0 for 3 on the night with a couple of strikeouts. It's the 40th time this year Chris has struck out 2 or more times in a game. Ball on a strike on him. Strike at the knees. The Orioles have not had a base runner since Hardy's 2-out infield hit in the 7th. If Brad Miller made the exchange, he probably would have been able to get him at first. You see Manny getting loose just in case. Davis, right field. Back it goes, and it is gone for Chris Davis. And the Orioles have the lead back at 2-1. Oh, what a poke on a 1-2 pitch.
Well, if you're a fastball slider guy, and he's late on the fastball and you hang a slider, that can be the result. Number 17 on the year. And off the bat, it's gone.
And he wins another $500 for our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, Henry Buettner of Westminster. So he's got a couple of home runs tonight.
Yeah, take a look right here. He's trying to throw it down and away. Where does it end up? And he can pretty much stays in, and then tremendous strength. I mean, just flicks it. And it soars out of here.
So Davis gives the Orioles the lead, and now the Orioles look for some add-on runs in the 10th. miles an hour. Chris Davis hit it out to give the Orioles the lead back. 2-1 game. Talking over with Nick Hundley there, and here is Danny Farquhar to try to keep it as is.
Yeah, he's been very good for him, and in fact the whole bullpen. When you get a home run, that's like a bonus. Second on the team with 41 appearances. He's only allowed a run in 7 of the 41 appearances, and just 2 runs in his last 13 games. That's going all the way back to the 17th of June. And again, he's been around. He signed with Toronto, acquired by Oakland, reacquired by Toronto, reacquired by Oakland, and then he came over in the Ichiro trade from the Yankees. Yeah. A big curveball. I mean, he can pitch. And last year he became the closer after Wilhelmsen struggled. 16 out of 18.
Ooh, he gloved it. The ball was heading to center field. The other hand toss gets Hardy.
So Lloyd McClendon, he matches up, and Furbush doesn't get the pitch where he wants, and all of a sudden the Orioles get themselves a lead.
This would be some kind of win for the Orioles. When the team got here from Anaheim after that tough loss on Wednesday night, and you look up and you see Iwakuma and then Felix Hernandez in back-to-back games, you're thinking, wow, if Zach Britton get ready to come on to try to earn the save. If you could somehow even gain a split in those games, you still might have a chance to win the series. And the Orioles now are 3 outs away from putting back-to-back wins over Seattle.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing. 3 outs away. When we were in Oakland, talking to Ray Fosse, talking to Ken Corsa, does the radio. Ray does a little bit of radio and television, former all-star catcher, and he said, "Boy, good luck with Iwakuma and King Felix," because he said we can't beat them. And they have one of the best teams in baseball. And what does Nick Markakis said? We'll go back to the Nick quote. Do you worry about how do you prepare for Iwakuma? Thursday night?
It's Thursday.
What about Felix?
It's Friday.
Friday. I mean, they know how good he is. They watch the films. And there's a nice off-speed curveball. A lot of strikes. So Farquhar, what we told you, I mean, he goes 0-3 last year, but doesn't walk a lot of guys. 16 out of 18, so he certainly can pitch in pressure situations. And he just wants to get him out of the inning at 2-1, and top of the order coming up against what will appear to be Zach Britton.
Caleb Joseph is 1 out of 3. For Seattle in the 10th, they have the top of the lineup: Endy Chavez, Stefan Romero, and then Robinson Cano. And you knew he was going to be lurking. Now towards third, Seager charges. Oh, he could play third base, and the Orioles are done. But not before Chris Davis against Charlie Furbush on a 1-2 pitch. Got a hanger, didn't miss it, and hits it out. The Orioles back in front. Ryan Mattis came on, 2 inherited runners in the 7th, and he was outstanding. Ends up going an inning and 2/3, and he struck out 3 to keep the game as is, tied. Then Darren O'Day came on, 9th inning. He faced 2 batters, and he got 2 strikeouts. First Zunino, and then Brad Miller. So the Orioles bullpen has gone 2 1/3 scoreless. And now the closer comes on to try for those final 3 outs.
Yeah, then you are down to 1. Ground ball pitcher, 18 out of 21, 3 saves in the first 7 games of his 10-game West Coast trip. Again, lefties did not hit any home runs. All the home runs by the right-handers. And when I talk about ground ball, I mean, it's, what, about 14 or 15 balls out of maybe 120 balls hit off of Zach Britton this year in the air. So low comes in. And Corey Hart, we saw him last night. Come off the DL. I mean, when he was with the Brewers before all the injuries, I mean, he was a home run guy. Well, this year, hamstring problems. And not only is the sinker, the velocity anywhere from 94 to 97.
Well, this is a typical kind of Orioles game. Chris Davis with the home run to break the tie as they have 2 runs on the board. And both have been on solo home runs. They're driving in of their offensive output on the year. Cruz had the other in the 2nd inning. 46% of their runs have been driven in by home runs. They now have 125 home runs on the year. Meantime, it's 0-2 on Hart. And then a comeback. 1 away in the 10th. Now, Zach Britton, his first blown save was in Milwaukee May 27th. He then went 8 games without allowing a run and saved 6. The second blown save was at Yankee Stadium when Beltran hit the home run. That was June 20th, so it was a little over 3 weeks after that. Then he went 10 consecutive games without allowing a run and saved 6. The third blown save was at Oakland last Friday night, and as Jim mentioned, since then he has been in 3 games, no runs, and 3 saves. So he has that, what Randy Myers used to say, the ability to forget and bounce back.
Well, he's got great stuff, too. I mean, he's got as good a sinker as there is in baseball. Throws hard. Loves this role. I mean, would like to be a starter again. Did win 11 games, 4 years ago for the Orioles before shoulder problems. And he's trying to do, against a very young hitting team, what is the most difficult save, which is a 1-run save. Not a lot. I mean, there's 0 room for error. And there's the bottom of the strike zone.
Romero pinch hit for Jones in the 7th. He was the first batter that Mattis saw. And he flied out.
Yeah, deep to left.
Deep to left.
Yeah, he got the man. Brian was able to get ahead of him 1 and 2. Didn't make a great slider, and he kind of lifted it to deep left center. There's another sinker. So
that ball almost spun back fair.
Yeah, the one thing is, and you know, when I was talking to Mike Socia down when the Orioles were playing the Angels, the All-Star throwing program, if you weren't on the All-Star game, was that you went to Arizona where a lot of them lived because that's where they train. You had to throw, and if you stayed in Anaheim, you had to throw. The Orioles, Zach Britton didn't throw between, and then the first game, got unlucky in the first 2 batters, and then didn't make a good pitch. And so I think maybe you learn a lesson from that. Yeah, it's nice to get the 4 days off, but you still have to prepare for the 5th day, which is your first game back. And of course, you talked to Chris Tillman, who started that first game, had a chance to win. I said, "Did you throw?" He said, "Oh, I learned my lesson. Didn't do it a couple of years ago, and I wasn't as good as I wanted to be." So.
With all the contacts that the Orioles have, you could find a spot.
Boy, throw a wall, find a wall.
And he got him. Strikeout, 2 away.
I know that sounds funny, but if that's what it takes.
Well, I mean, Zach lives in Southern California now. Brady's got all kinds of connections down there.
Yeah, so you go home and you still find 15, 20 minutes to play catch and do your throwing to get ready.
So it comes down to this. The 2 home run hitters for the O's, Cruz and Davis. And Britton trying to retire Cano for the final out. And Cano is a very healthy 6 for 13 in his career against Zach Britton.
And then again, go back to the numbers we showed you. All the home runs by right-handed batters. Cano only with 7. But Zach may not know exactly what the numbers are, the 6 for 13. But you know when a guy has pretty good luck against you. And then what you try to do, and of course, to me, he's a much more improved. He's healthier. His mind's a lot better. And some of the times that he had to pitch against the Yankees when Cano was playing for him. So there's the glove, just hit it. And he throws a breaking ball.
Well, you'd love to end it here. You don't want to tempt fate with Kendrys Morales on deck in his return to the Mariners tonight.
Well, he already drove in the only run with the sacrifice fly. And he's such a wild swinger, you know, and he's got the ability, even though most of his home runs come from the left side. He'll turn around and hit right-handed, but all it takes is if Cano gets on, you run into one, and the whole game changes.
And a tapper right back to the mound. Britton turns and throws to first. It's safe as he pulled him off the bag.
Well, I don't know why he was taking so much time. You know, everybody kids him because he's not a good fielder. What did he say when he didn't catch the comebacker? And he said in the game, my dad would have taken me out. Well, come on, come on, come on. And then when you make a bad throw, it doesn't give Davis enough time. No reason to take that much time. And then he exacerbates the problem by making a bad throw, and they get another chance. Game's over. Everybody running in. And Buck Showalter's going to come out, and maybe.
Well, if you ask them to look at it, and they do, you don't know what they might see. Maybe Buck feels the toe was on before it came off, and he's got a point.
Yeah.
And, you know, you never know what New York's going to see, and you may as well do this because if it goes your way, the game ends.
Yeah. So it has to be, again, conclusive enough. And it was close. But, see, you know, so is the ball all the way in the back of the glove? And I think you could say it was.
Yeah, it looks like he's out.
Yep. But, again,
then the foot comes off.
This is a moot point if you just, I don't mean rush it, just don't hold it. But you have to understand, I mean, this is the one thing. I think the Orioles feel very comfortable that maybe Zach Britton's best position is a closer because when you start, you have to field more, you have to hold runners. Very coordinated guy, real good hitter. So, again, the ball is in the glove early on. They said, okay, that's enough. But I think right there, he's out.
Yeah. So, I think if New York has this angle.
Well, they got them all. Game's going to be over. It's
very close, but it looked like the toe was still on the bag.
And you know that Adam Gladstone, who's the video guy for the Orioles, are telling Buck, through John Reynolds, the bench coach, hey, I think this is worth challenging. Why not? As you said, the game's over. So toes on the bag, ball is in the glove. And then he comes off.
And Field and Colberth can't see that part of it from that angle. I mean, it's bang, bang either way, but that replay that we saw shows that he's out.
Well, they get to see it, whether they think that's enough to overturn it. Yeah.
Field and Colberth, number 25, is the crew chief. And here we go. We're about to get the verdict. He's out, and the game is over. So the toe was on the bag. New York confirms it, and the Orioles get a win here in extra innings by the final of 2-1.
Well, you know, it's funny. The fans think it's the umpires that made the call. It's New York. So they're booing all the way across country. So, again, a challenge with 2 outs in extra innings. Toe on the base. And now, right now, the ball goes in the glove, the foot comes off, and they discern that it stayed on long enough.
So the Orioles with a huge win as they pull it out 2-1 in 10. And again, the 2 home runs, the difference in this game. Cruz the solo. His was a line drive in the second off Felix Hernandez for a 1-0 lead. And then in the 10th, Chris Davis against Furbush hits it out. And that broke the 1-1 tie. So the Orioles continue, Jim, to get it done with pitching. Now over the last 5 games, they've gone 4-1. Team ERA 1.40, starters 1.29. The team batting average, amazing, 184, and they've gone 4 of 5 in wins, 16 runs scored in the 5 games, and 53 strikeouts.
Yeah, well, the Orioles you don't beat Felix Hernandez. What you do is you just outlast him, and that's what they were able to do tonight. You know, he makes, I suppose you could call it a mistake. One changeup up in the zone, Cruz torches it down the left field line, and then Furbush comes in. You match up. Just think about that, Jim. They want to match up. He was only going to face one batter. Furbush comes in, hangs a slider to Chris Davis, home run number 17. The Orioles take the lead.
And Kevin Gausman was outstanding.
Well, you know, the other thing you got to look at, the last game he pitched, he gives up 9 hits and 5 runs. So for a young guy, he comes back. He worked hard in between, trying to work on his command. All 3 walks were to Brad Miller, the number 9 hitter. He pitched into some trouble a little early on, but then was able to pitch out of it. And again, he did exactly what you wanted, pitch to pitch with Felix Hernandez, and the Orioles able to eke out a 2-1 win.
So the Orioles are now 57-45. That is a season high, 12 above 500. They've won 4 of 5. They're now 5-3 on this trip. And Jim, they are 14-6 in July. And in 2012, when they made their push for the playoffs, they began their push on August the 1st. This year, they began their push on June the 1st. And they maintained their 3-game lead on the Yankees. And they now have a 4-game lead on third-place Toronto. Tampa Bay beat Boston tonight. So the Rays are 7.5 back. And Boston is now 10.5 back in last place.
Yeah, and the other thing about playing out here, and we talked about it throughout this 10-game, you pretty much know what you have to do because the scoreboards, you know, whether they're out in left center or whatever, you can see what the teams in your division have done. They're playing on the East Coast. So, again, a very clutch win. Bullpen's terrific. Not a lot of offense as they get out hit, but you get the 2 home runs.
So what a tremendous victory for the Orioles here. And let's head downstairs to the Orioles clubhouse, and Chris Davis is nice enough to join us. And Chris, congratulations on just an absolute clutch home run to break the tie. And Furbush, he got ahead of you, but you got a pitch to hit and you didn't miss it.
Yeah, I faced him, several times in the past, and he's pretty much had my number. So, after he threw a good pitch there, 1-1 fastball, good pitch to hit. And when I got to 2 strikes, I was just looking for something up, and he left the slider out over the plate.
And you just flicked it.
I did. It was nice and easy, two-strike approach.
Can you remember that for tomorrow, what that flick was all about?
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying.
We know that. Hey, tell me just a couple of things about Kevin Gausman. The pitching's just been so outstanding. He's like, for him, a young guy, he struggled a little bit in Oakland. They're a pretty good ball club, and then he comes back. And, he didn't out-pitch Felix, but he pitched right with him.
Yeah, he did. You're exactly right. He went toe-to-toe with him, and obviously Felix is at the top of his game right now, and we knew we had a tough battle on our hands going into the game, but Gauss stepped up and was right there with him. And then obviously our bullpen came in, getting some big outs, and then we were able to get runs in the late innings and then close it out.
Well, after dropping 2 out of 3 in Oakland, a disappointing start to the trip, here you've now won 4 of 5, and Chris, you've gone 4-1. And the team is batting in the 5 games below 200. What is it like to see this outstanding pitching and able to score just enough to get the runs?
Well, it says a lot about our pitching staff and our defense. Knowing that our bats are facing some tough pitchers and some tough ballparks too. I mean, I really felt like the game in Oakland, the first night was a good game for us. Obviously, we didn't win it, but I thought we battled hard and we gave ourselves a chance to win. And they dunked a few balls in, and then obviously Donaldson hit a home run, but. Tonight was huge, man, going out there and guys going toe-to-toe with Felix and then us just kind of scratching some runs out. That's what it's all about.
Well, last question, what size shoe do you wear? Because that was really the discerning play of the game.
I wear size 13.
Okay, there we go.
I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I had stayed on when the ball was in my glove and then came off afterwards, but obviously the guys thought I was out.
All right, well, Chris, congratulations on a big win. Big home run by you, but bigger win for the team. We appreciate the visit.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, that's Chris Davis joining us from the clubhouse, and we hope you can join us tomorrow. More O's action. Game 3 of the 4-game series with Bud Norris on the mound against Chris Young. Our coverage on MASN 2 begins at 3:30 with O's Extra presented by Dodge, and then game coverage at 4 o'clock on MASN 2 and WJZ. And now for Jim Palmer and our entire crew, Jim Hunter saying so long from Safeco Field, where the Orioles in 10 innings, a tremendous win for the Birds as they beat Seattle by the final of 2-1. Tonight's telecast, the MASN presentation, Tom and Rick, O's Extra presented by PNC, comes your way right now, recapping the Orioles' 2-1 win in 10.